Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Welcome to the Friday night edition and month-end edition of the SOR Roundtable. We're getting into some serious UFO talk tonight with our great panel that we have for you coming on up. Marquise Williams from After Hours, the man with 8,882 podcasts, Brian Bowden, Thomas Fessler from Disclosure Tonight, Random Guy, and Nicole Sakic will be here momentarily. But first, let's say hello to all of you. We have Kathy Evans in the gold medal position, Race Fan in the silver, Robert Lamoth taking home the bronze medal tonight. Big Dog, hey, we're just almost under 3 weeks away, buddy, from Vegas. Cannot wait to see you, buddy. Good to see you again. Brown Dwarf, John Swan, how you doing? Eric Markham, the Preacher is back. Dutch Hank, Kurt M., Derek Galloway, Donna, Emmy Tong. Number 14 in your program, starting at center ice tonight from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson. There he is. Gong Show, nice to see you. Daryl Zerline and Frederick Barr, welcome to SOR Chat. I was day drinking and just woke up. Perfect answer for us tonight. Jenny and Laura Lobbs, good to see you. Penman is here. Penman will sign autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Forrest Louie, nice to see you. I am Pam is back. No, I am Pam. Who's Pam? I am Pam. I am Pam will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Forrest Louie, Millennium, my man, Rugged Source, Scott Blight, nice to have you all here. Hi, Sundance Kid. Para Marv, good to see you. Monica, Nancy Thames, Thomas Rock, Lisa C., thank you for coming on in. Hey, GSCO. Eric Austin, I am Pam. And the lovely Sally Elka. How are you, my dear? Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. And, of course, we have Penny Van, Area 51, Pam Harris. Nice to see you. Timothman, good to have you back, my man. Sparkles on Facebook, Bash the Impaler, and Noble Patrick. Good to have you all here. Forrest Louie, thank you for kicking off this super chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much. Continuing on with Roll Call, Alien Critter, Kevin Kennedy, Shaq Filet. Good to have you here. Voth Low, welcome back. Android Paranormal, welcome to SOR Chat. And DAY Song, good to see you. Glenn John McEnroe, the pride of Wimbledon. Dr. Robert Steers, how you doing, my friend? We got to get you on one of these panels, by the way. Evan Walters, you're pissing me off. You haven't been here all week. All right, Donald G. Van, welcome. Oh, that must be a relation to Penny Van. I'm seeing the name change there. Lee Lovelight, where have you been hiding? Little Brian Bowden there. He's got 77,000 podcasts on back order, if you don't mind waiting for one over the next 15 years. Thank you for that super chat, Brian. Very much appreciate it. Greg.com Maloney, how's Thailand tonight? And Lovey Love, how are you? Mike Bothwell, good to see you. Trot Dog, welcome back. Larry Compton, Jessica Bobby Ounce, how are you? And Dutch UFO, nice to see you. Phil Minervino, thanks for coming on in. Marty Burback, nice to see you. Kathleen Hughes, Jeff Steve Garvey, he'll hit a home run for you. And let's start the radio side so we can let Bill WD-40 into the chat room so he can lube us up for tonight's show, because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. Lube it up. Smooth. Works well together. All right, Dave Walters down in Kamloops. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And Flying Monkeys, welcome back. And we got like 40 seconds. And Strangeland, Marty Burback again. I'm going to say Marty Burback all night tonight. No, I'm not. I am Pam, by the way. And let's see here. We got 29 seconds. The super chat is open. And you can do a little shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store. You get our brand new shirt, the FU Dave shirt. It's right there, right on top, right near the Random Guy shirts. Go grab them while you can. Yep. The old FU Dave. That's right. Thanks, Random Guy. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody, it's that time of the night where I ask you to put your horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. It is a power show of major news tonight, as it is the SOR Roundtable. We do it near the end of each month where we hang out. I bring in some friends who are great guests and great researchers and entertainers in this field to go over the month that was. And of course, because things are just starting to melt around the world and people just getting back into the forest, tonight is going to be mainly about UFOs once again. There is a lot of big news that is happening recently, whether it's Logan Paul having a UFO video, Tucker Carlson getting fired from Fox, but yet he was an advocate for ufology. All right, there's Sean Kirkpatrick from Arrow making news all over the place, and so much more. We're going to get into it right now as we bring in our panel of Marquise Williams. He is from our After Hours show on Spaced Out Radio. Brian Bowden, a man with literally 5,800 podcasts around the world. And Thomas Fessler from Disclosure Tonight, one of the best news people when it comes to ufology, and our resident random guy. And we're going to start off right off the bat, everyone, with Logan Paul. This is news that just came right out of nowhere, where James Fox was on a podcast with Joe Rogan. And James Fox, who is an accomplished movie director, literally comes out, Thomas, and says, Logan Paul has this video. He offered $100,000 to the owner of the video, which apparently is on VHS. The gentleman turned the money down, but in Logan Paul fashion, he just happens to have cameras all over his studio. And one of the cameras happened to be filming and caught this video, which apparently, just like every other video, Thomas, is going to light up ufology, open up people's eyes, and convince them forever and ever, amen, that UFOs are real. Thomas, what do you think about this?
If we're going back to VHS, let's go back to the video from what do you call it? Where's his name? Mauricio Ruiz. You know, there's some great videos out there. You know, if he's got something that's wonderful and it's from VHS days, there's less of a chance that it's been faked. But if it's out there and it's real, why are they sitting on it? Bring it on.
Well, and that's my point. And that's what I did the Dave 101 on. You know what? Look, Logan Paul is worth right now, I think, $200 million. After doing my research today. I mean, this guy has made some great marketing decisions, some early boneheaded decisions in his early YouTube days, but he has really marketed himself very, very well over time. and he has become a power player in sports and sports entertainment, as well as, his podcast Impulsive. And he has taken on a few people in the UFO subject, including Dr. Stephen Greer and others. But one of the big things about him when it comes to this video is that he should release it. In my opinion,
Yeah.
he should release it. He has enough money where, in case the guy sued, okay, he has enough money to cover himself. Plus, he can hire the proper lawyers in order to do it. But I mean, Thomas, what do you think? Should that video be released?
Yeah, of course, because didn't Logan Paul release a film a dead body in the Japanese suicide forest for
Yep.
YouTube Cloud? And if
Yeah.
he's willing to go ahead and do that and bring that much shock out, what's he doing sitting on video material like this?
Well, and that's the big point. Because remember, guys, we didn't hear this from Logan Paul that he had the video. We heard it from movie director James Fox, and it has blown up UFO Twitter all over the place. Random guy, let's bring you in here for a second, because, this is a video that could stir up some controversy. It could stir up a lot of emotions within people who've been challenging ufology if the video is that good.
Yeah, I don't think it's that good, for starters. I mean, just the fact it's VHS, from the description that I heard from people, for starters, the thing that's so compelling about this video is actually the reaction of the two guys in the video. It's not necessarily the craft itself. I mean, I'm going obviously on hearsay like everybody else. Another interesting thing is, actually this morning, James Fox said that the owner of the video, the original VHS owner, is now leaning toward showing it himself. So I don't know if you caught that tweet. So that was literally like 9 o'clock this morning, like 12 hours ago. So there might be some motion there. Maybe a network gave him the right dollar figure. Maybe there's enough pressure. But again, being the forever skeptic, I feel like it's not going to be what they're building it up to be. And I hope to God it's not just a marketing ploy.
Me either. I hope it's not either. As you know, I mean, this is what, Brian, we talk about ufology over the years, Brian Bowden, and we have really heard a number of statements over the years where people have made promises about having the smoking gun video, the video of a lifetime. This one's going to change the planet. This one is going to make everybody think twice about criticizing that UFOs are real. And they've all been nothing burgers.
Yep.
Blurry videos, zoomed in so far you can't tell if it's a pixelated Super Mario Brothers video game or if it's an actual something anomalous. I mean, it gets ridiculous at times, but James Fox is also known as a very honest guy. He is known as, so I mean, what do you think's going on?
So, I mean, I'm sure Fox is probably caught a little bit of it and is very much aware of what's going on with it. And if he's mentioning it, it may be something fairly significant, but, and I do, like Random Guy said, love stuff that's not digital, because, I think there's where you can't really manipulate it too quickly. But I think this is, given the person that has it and who's talking about it, it's all about marketing and hype. And I think it's an absolute nothing burger to continue with. There are videos that have gone out and people are very skeptic of them, from the 80s and 90s, with VHS and digital video recorders that are fantastic videos. But I don't think anybody's going to be, unless you have like an alien standing there or a bunch of them coming. There's nothing really fantastic that's going to come from it. People will pay a lot of money for it though, because they're, it's all about hype. But I think it's nothing. And given, Paul, no, I'm good.
Well, look, this is a guy, Brian, who has umpteen millions of subscribers and followers.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a lot of pull as an influencer. I mean, he is, what he's done to rekindle the popularity of boxing between him and his brother, even though they're taking on exhibition matches, participating in WWE events. I mean, this guy knows how to market himself. He's a good-looking guy. He's in shape. He's got a great team of business people around him that have really seemed to help him push the envelope in a more straighter business-like mind than what he was earlier on in his career. This is a guy where, going back to it, and Thomas, you may laugh when I say this to Brian, but I mean, going back to it, this is something to me where if I was restarting the To the Stars Academy, I wouldn't go with Tom DeLonge. I would be going with an influencer like Logan Paul, who has a real connection to all these young people, Brian.
It's 100%. I understand what you're saying, but you're talking about someone who's an entertainer. Let's call it what it is. As far as boxing, he's doing entertaining, and he knows how to market, and that's what it's always has been. I mean, him, filming someone who was hanging themselves in the Japanese, death forest. I mean, I'm sure they went there looking for that more so than anything else. But this is what he does. I'm tired of the entertainment. I want real proof. I want real information, real evidence. I've seen this over and over again between UFOs, the ghosts, the Bigfoot, whatever. Oh, everybody's like, oh, breaking news. I got everything you need. No, it's always nothing, and it's not even important. Even all these videos, the Nimitz videos that everybody going goo over. I saw those years ago, prior to them, everybody going goo over. And yeah, they were kind of impressive, but nothing like, I'm not jumping out of my seat for it. But then again, I'm investigating these things, right? So,
well, you know what? You have enough podcasts to do that. So let's go over to Marquise Williams from After Hours here, because we know you love your UAP and, little UAP with toast in the morning. For you.
I'm salivating over here.
Logan Paul.
Yep.
Should he bother getting into the UFO world? Do you think maybe this has been a great debate since, he did not come out with the fact that he had this smoking gun video?
So I have to agree with everyone on the panel, but I am going to deviate a bit from the narrative here. And on the one hand, I think that it's a good idea because Logan Paul targets a pretty massive audience. We're talking millions of viewers around the world. And even though they're not us, they're not the people that are involved with the paranormal and UFOs and all of those things, they are people that should be, and we want to be involved. So I think that move to use Logan Paul, it wasn't a bad one for the idea of getting people involved. However, when it comes to credibility and authenticity, I think it was a bad idea.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. He probably did open himself up to a real lawsuit where he could lose a few $1 million over that, Marquise. But I mean, just the thinking though, that the impact this would have if he did have the cojones to release that video, although it is secondary, it is from a different camera. We're probably not going to get a great view.
No, it's going to be terrible. It's VHS, Dave. It's not going to be great. And it's not just VHS. It's a video of a VHS recording.
And supposedly it's a button camera.
Yeah.
So that means the max resolution. That means the maximum resolution would be 1080p. So you're taking a 1080 or a 720 video of a 480p VHS.
You're looking at an upscaled version of a 420p. Yeah, it's going to be terrible.
420
720 is max.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be that big, and you're like, oh yeah, I could see it. I have a video, right? I wish I could show it. Upstate New York, this woman has these grays coming to her. She says, I want you to get rid of them. I'm like, lady, I don't have that kind of authority or power to get rid of grays, but there's the gray, and he peeks out of the truck. It's incredible video, but I can't show it to anybody.
Yeah, to your point, the idea that any one tape is going to be the thing that's going to make people realize there's something else here. There needs to be. I think this is a kind of the reason, the premise behind putting people like Tom DeLonge and having that effort by Elizondo and Mellon and all them. It's to get an official statement about the phenomena. And I think that even though we can, there's lots of evidence that convinces us that would not convince the general public. It's just not going to, but an official statement would. And so I think that's where they're trying to go is to find some kind of
Thomas.
If I could add to this really quick, we have an official statement. 2 weeks ago tonight, we had the U.S. Air Force come forward and say that the UFOs are real, and it's not just a problem for the United States. It's global, and we're working with countries all around the world. And everyone
Right.
seems to have forgotten that because we had the wonderful UFO hearings a couple days later. The reality of it is we've had the admission, we've got the facts that are there, and it's going to start moving forward, hopefully, because Space Force is moving to usurp what's going on at Aro, and I love it.
Right. Yeah, but if you put
Only-
that up against the people the kind of people that are watching the hearing, and also the people that the people that were at the hearing versus the people that are watching it, it's kind of a 1-to-1. It's just as scattered and scarce as it was at the hearing itself. And so that's not going to be the thing that's going to be the impactful statement by an Aero department or whatever. It needs to be something in a much bigger way, to a much broader audience.
How do you get bigger than the Space Force coming and saying UFOs are real? They're violating our airspace. It's a worldwide phenomenon. This is something that Lou has been saying for years, but now we've got the Space Force coming out as the only branch of the military. You mean out into the DoD, they're not even willing to call them UFOs. They're still pointing them out as anomalous. There you go. We've got the
only
problem is we didn't get any press. Take it.
No, the only caveat to that, and I'm glad you brought that up, was, and everything that I've seen, and I know what you're talking about, when they came out and said that, they seem to really latch on to calling it more the UAP side as a threat, and as though it's indicative that they're more leaning toward it's a foreign asset than something extraterrestrial.
Nope, not in that one.
And the implications that I've
They
seen.
said it's a global phenomenon. We're working with countries all around the world, so they didn't try to discount it like we're getting all the BS out of the Pentagon that tries to.
They came out straight up, and multiple people have stated it's not ET, that they have no indication it's ET.
Yeah.
They're playing the game of kind of stringing along the ufology part of it, I believe. And they're indicating that they're foreign threats that they want funding for, in my opinion.
Not the Space Force, though.
Okay, but can I be the guy that asked the damn question? I'm like, I hear all this stuff all the time. Disclosure. What the hell's so important about disclosure? I got to be honest.
Yeah.
What is so? I don't want to be the
I think that's a good question
about disclosure.
That's a good question.
Each one of us, and probably a majority of everybody listening to SOR, we believe we've seen things. We know they're real. I don't need disclosure. I don't need a group of people that have been lying to us anyhow for all around the world to tell us, oh yeah, UFOs are real. Oh yeah, really? You figured it out right now? Okay. We knew about this 40 years ago. They're real. What's the point of disclosure? With the exception of people going, that gotten ridiculed. See, I told you. Yeah, I don't need I told you so moment. And frankly, these craft, these extraterrestrials are pretty good at what they do. They hide pretty well. And if they wanted to be discovered, they will be discovered. And they're going to make their presence known, whether the United States government or any other government joins together and says UFOs are real. They'll make that choice whether they want to reveal.
Not if, it's now. It's happened.
No,
we've had better disclosure. We had a better acknowledgement coming out of the Space Force than we're getting out of the DoD, and that is a big step.
I have no problem with the Space Force because I know what they're doing. But again, a lot of this, I think, is and the people involved in this, God bless them because they do a lot for our countries. I mean, Lou, love what he does for this country, but I got to be honest, the guy lies for a living. And
excuse me,
that's his job, is to deceive.
No, he doesn't lie. That man does not lie. If that man lies, he loses his national security privileges, sir. Going ahead and calling.
I know. I have friends and family in the same business.
One at a time.
I have friends and family in the same business. I know what they do, and I know how they act and what goes on. And frankly, how does somebody that's revealing UFOs, such a big deal and a national security threat, still maintain their security clearance? He's lying. That's my 2 cents.
I think there's maybe a miscommunication between you. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not going to put words in either one of your mouths. But it seems to me that What he's referring to by lie, I don't think he means outwardly lying. I think he means because he was an OSI agent. Sometimes part of his job is admittedly to provide misinformation while on an actual assignment for the government. Whereas your counter argument was if he lies, he loses his clearance. If he's lying on behalf of the government, he would not clearly lose his clearance. That's all I wanted to clarify.
It's the same thing about Stephen Greer, right? This is a guy that's a doctor. He's a nobody, but yet he's briefing presidents. Well, guess what, folks? He's not a nobody. He's very connected within the government, probably a 3-lettered agency. I'm just using that as an example. I don't think I can't stand Greer, but I'm just saying that if you understand how the intelligence community works, you know, I don't care what Lou has to say, and I don't care what the government has to say. I want better information. I love when people come out with stuff. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. You know what? I agree with you, Brian, on a couple of things here, because when you're a full-time experiencer, and the majority of us, including Random Guy, we've all got aliens here. Okay. We all got aliens one way or another. And the one thing is, like, if you've had it multiple times and you know what's going on, and Thomas, I know you're a multiple experiencer, Brian as well, Marquise, you've got some good aliens there as well. You know, when we put it all together, we already have our own disclosure. We're not trying to win the story over. Our job is to bring the news now to the public who may not know, who may not understand, who may not really dig into it as deep, and use us as, excuse me, as their tools of investment into this subject, and to bring it forward. And then there is the lot of people, and Thomas, you get a lot of them on Disclosure Tonight, who've never had an experience, but this topic intrigues them, and they just want to know what's going on. They don't know what it's like to sit in Brian's shoes, or Thomas's shoes, or my shoes, or Random Guy's shoes, and and you know, many others. They just don't know. They just don't know. You know what I'm saying? And
you know, I appreciate that. I appreciate that wholeheartedly, and that's everything I do research wise. I publish everything on raw data, raw video, everything, and then I'll go through it myself, because I want everybody that watches it to also investigate. That's how I like to do things. I want people to get involved in it, and my stuff is very much to help people that have these questions, you know, especially the ones that come in and scared out of their mind because they read something about, you know, aliens, you know, maybe eating people or whatever.
Oh, wow.
We try to give them a great location, like a central area where we can, like, look, this is what's going on for real. And I understand what you're talking about disclosure and this and that. But when you get into any type of bureaucracy or government agency, I believe them. I trust them as much as I trust, Death Valley sushi.
Brian, I do have to I kind of want to ask you something and kind of pose something to you here. I hate to stick to this, but Louis Elizondo, the fact that there was kind of some backlash by the DOD about what he said in the public, and they had to retract their statement about him not working for the DOD on that program investigating the phenomena, because they initially lied about it. And not just the spokesperson for the DOD, but many people have also fought against him. So if somebody was going to come forward and release information about this phenomenon so that the public could know, it kind of seems like he's doing exactly what you would do if that were the case. No,
I hear you, but here's the rub. And Thomas, you said it best. If you give away these secrets, if you are on the front page of everything, you don't have your security clearance, but he still does. Let that sink in for a few minutes.
Yeah, but if you notice when he's talked about things,
he said it's aliens.
For instance, I've seen craft with occupancy.
Yeah,
he didn't say he's seen the craft with occupants inside and what it is. He talks around it in a very well rehearsed, very good way to be able to talk about the subjects without getting there. Dave, we want to wrap this up,
gentlemen. We're going to take a break here at the bottom of the hour. First heated half hour of Spaced Out Radio's Roundtable with Marquise Williams, Brian Bowden, Thomas Fessler, and Random Guy. We call him Guy around here. Coming up when we return, Tucker Carlson pretty much gets fired from Fox. But was he some sort of UFO savior in the mainstream media? We'll be right back.
Wow.
There we go. We're clear.
All right. I guess I got banned. Okay.
That was fun. No, that was fun. That was fun. That was fun.
There she is. Oh my! Look at the hair. Look at the hair.
You needed to send her the link better.
I sent it.
It was my laptop.
You can't send it to her email.
Yeah.
Look at the hair, people. Look how good the hair looks.
Perfect.
We need to fix the lighting, though.
That is beautifully flat iron, Nicole. Beautifully flat iron.
It's not. It's just how it dries. But thank you, Dave. Yours is looking magnificent tonight. Fellas.
You're welcome. You're welcome, number one.
Hey, good to see you, Nicole.
Good to see you, Nicole.
What's up, Nicole?
How the
Long
first
time no
half
see,
hour
Nicole.
go? Good?
Well, it was like the Brady Bunch for the first little bit.
It was fun.
Here's a story.
Thomas and Brian started, they were pushing it. It's the Seattle Kraken versus the New York Rangers there.
The Kraken's going to win. The Rangers are folding this year.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Hey, just
hate-
to throw this out there, ran a survey on the channel. I run a lot of surveys on the
Sure.
channel during the audience. Quick, rapid fire, 2-minute questions, a minute and a half. Asking the people in the audience, I have seen a UFO or had an encounter. Out of the audience, we had 200 people there. We had 84 votes in out of it. Good participation in the survey. 65% of the audience has seen something, whether in the air or had an encounter. 34% have had not. So it's more than just a few people out there, guys, who have seen this stuff. A lot of people have seen it. They're involved with it. Granted, disclosure tonight covers a lot of that stuff, but the reality is there's a big interest for it. And in order for it to go big, there needs to be momentum. There needs to be that big thing that's going to come out to drag the people in.
Oh, I think the biggest thing that did came out, and you mentioned it, was Space Force. That is huge.
Yeah.
But it's just,
It's not enough to talk about at the dinner table for the average American. I mean,
Because it didn't get picked up anywhere. We had the same. There was more coverage about Avi Loeb's flying turd that was dropping probes that came to our planet with parachutes than there was talking about the monumental statement from the Space Force.
True.
I mean, I love the fact that the best thing that's come from disclosure is it gives the abilities to our pilots and people that are in positions that were not allowed to report it to finally report them.
Yeah, true.
Okay?
And prepare for that.
Awesome. That's really good. But in general, getting the government involved in this stuff, it's never going to work out.
It's like getting the Catholic Church to come out and bring out the truth about what happened to all the Native kids in Canada.
Oh my gosh,
it's not going to happen.
No, it's and I mean but that's you know what? That's an extreme example, but he's right.
Oh, there's worse
100%.
extreme examples than that.
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
That's really
Yeah, that was
going to do something about Hunter Biden's laptop, but I'll just shut up.
Oh no!
Oh, there we go. Bring it.
We're about to talk about Tucker Carlson, so don't worry. It's going to get spicy.
All those military, all the former, if you want to call it, intelligence people who signed up to a lie.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Well,
oh,
I mean, like, I'm fortunate enough to I have a lot of friends in agencies that some don't exist, and I don't have a security clearance, but a couple of people always ask me to assess what's going on, and they just sit there dumbfounded. He goes, "How the hell do you know all this stuff?" Mm-hmm. And if you're smart enough to, 1 + 1 is 2, and then you add 3 more, and then you can kind of deduce certain things. So when you give them some answers, and I know I know body language, I know looks, and I'm like, I know I'm hitting on stuff, and I can pick up stuff even if they're talking around things. These people, you violate your security clearance, it's not a joke. It's like hard labor. It's the real deal. You'll never see the light of day.
Right.
So even Lou, I've seen my own personal. That's great, but someone who's supposed to be the whistleblower doesn't have their security clearance unless they're still working.
Yeah,
That's
well, I mean,
works.
he's working against the narrative, though, isn't he? I mean, he literally says that there's non-human intelligence here. He's being very clear that
when your
Someone who's
job is to
working for the
deceive.
military doesn't have an intelligence operation pulled against them and other people they're working through that's almost considered black ops, where it's stuff that's going on in our country that would be against our laws.
Okay,
This went on
guys,
last year.
hold on. We got 30 seconds here. I want to say a big thank you to Louie, Brian, Larry, NorCal, Nancy H, Deb, and Cat Chaser. And with the introduction of Ross Dogs in our chat room, it is that time of the night again where we wave to all the CIA, NSA, NRO agents. We say, hello, how are you? Welcome to the show. Give us a call sometime. We don't need to provide you a number because you already have one. And remember, this guy can be bought.
Hello,
This-
Susan.
I can be bought too.
All right. Here we go, everyone. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. The roundtable continues tonight with Thomas Fessler from Disclosure Tonight, Random Guy from our show. From our weekend show, we have Marquise Williams, Brian Bowden, who has literally 6,882 podcasts going at once, 17 different networks, 24/7, and joined by researcher and author Nicole Sakic now. And this is a topic we're going to get into. And, you know, whether you love him or hate him, and trust me, there is not many people in this world that I just want to hit. But Tucker Carlson has one of those punch me in the face. He really does. Just hammer him, you know, right at center ice, drop the gloves, and just smack him. But whether you love him or hate him, or you agree or disagree with his type of politics, I don't call him a journalist. He's more of a TV figurehead. All right. The one thing that he was, that I will give him credit for, was he used good for ufology. He kept the story in the mainstream. And I don't care about his political affiliation, whether he's you know, whatever he wants to talk about or conspiracy theories he wants to show up. All I'm concerned about is the UFO part, because while every other newspaper and television station was dropping the UFO talk, Tucker Carlson kept it going. And he had, I think, a very keen interest in this subject. Nicole Sakic, you're right here with us now, and thank you for joining us here. I know you had some computer troubles early on and couldn't get in, but we're glad you're here now. I want to start with you on this one because, you know, you and I have talked much over the last 4 years about the lack of media coverage regarding this subject in the mainstream. And here Tucker Carlson was talking UFOs, keeping it in the eyes of his multi-millions of viewers each night. Is this a good thing, or is it a bad thing that he's going to lose that platform and that ufology may now take a step back on the public scene?
It's a good thing that he was always bringing it to the table. I mean, I think back when he was one of the only talking heads in mainstream media that was even mentioning the word UFO. And I will say, a person like Tucker never goes away for good. He's going to come back probably bigger, better, more numbers than ever. And he's probably going to come back to a platform where he has wiggle room, do what he wants and say what he wants. So it wouldn't surprise me if our Tucker read includes more UFOs, more UFO talk, more guests. And I think that'll be a good thing in the end.
I think so too. And I agree with you. I think his platform is going to get much bigger. Random guy, let's go to you on this one, because I mean, not many people were talking about the UFO stuff. We would see every now and again, once in a blue moon, that CNN would cover it, or MSNBC. A lot of the other so-called major networks, the minute they got into the UFO story, there was laughing and hilarity that went along with the story that so many of us take very seriously. And from an outsider's perspective, because you're not really in the UFO world, okay, from an outsider's perspective, I always liked how Tucker Carlson brought ufology to the mainstream public at a relatively easy level.
Well, I mean, I'm not a big news network guy anyways, because I learned that turned the corner about 15 years ago, is from going from a news, but all the channels, doesn't matter what side of political spectrum, it all went from being news to media and entertainment, right? I think we can all agree on that. So I stopped watching that stuff a long time ago. What I noticed, though, just in general with him and in general, was people would watch him even if they were moderate. A lot of people talk about Fox being super far right, and we all know, you got that aunt, uncle, grandma, parent that's probably down that line. But he was kind of like the voice of reason and moderation on that channel, if any. And what was cool about it is when he would speak about it, he would draw people from all sides, because like you said, he was doing it. Like if CNN dropped a story, it was sensationalized. He was trying to actually do it from somewhat, I mean, he's an entertainer, but somewhat from an investigative point. Really, I just wish we'd bring back the Weekly World News at the checkout stand, though. That was like the most authentic source of news I ever got growing up.
I thought you were a subscriber to PBS, but that's a whole different topic right there. Thomas Sensler.
Yeah, if I could say this, Tucker and Hannity and Tranity, and we've got if you want to call it Anderson Cooper, all of them, none of them are reporters. They're all entertainers. It's all it's news entertainment. So we need to make that clear who the guy was. And I hate to say it, when you were saying about him going someplace else, he did. His first tweet that he had on Twitter that he put out at the same time that his broadcast would have gone live, he skunked the ratings of what was going on Fox News, on frickin' Twitter. So yeah, wherever that guy's going to go, he's going to have a voice, whether we like it or not. And I hope he continues to cover the situation with UFOs, because you know what? He cares. He's tried. He hasn't laughed. He's brought a lot of important people out and brought this message to a very big audience where CNN and none of the other people on Fox would even touch it.
And you know what surprises me is UFOs are a rating spike to the positive. Okay, I know that from the radio stations that we broadcast on, their nighttime numbers have all climbed. Okay, from the time we've got there to getting established with an audience, our numbers have continued to go up. I know that in television, when ratings spike, you can charge more for advertisement. And it's smart, because it allowed, every time he was going to have a UFO topic on the show, which would be led up to by a few days of understanding, okay, and advertising, the advertisers would see a spike in those ratings. Newspapers would see a spike when they reported on it. The New York Times, when they released the article in 2016 with the videos, which was written by Ralph Blumenthal, Leslie Kean, and Helena Cooper, that was their most sold newspaper since the tragedy of 9/11. That's incredible. All because of UFOs. And that was a Saturday paper, not a weekday paper where there's a lot of stuff going on, but a Saturday, which is supposed to be a fluff newspaper, and it's their most sold since 9/11. So we see that UFOs on a business side are a money gainer for advertising. And maybe that was the reason why they kept it up. Maybe that was the reason why, Brian, that they continued the story, or maybe it was because he actually is a true believer in the phenomena and had the platform to bring the big wigs onto it.
I actually like Tucker. I think he does a good job for what he's doing out of all the other talking heads. I can see him going either to Blaze or Bongiorno's show, but it's people are interested in this because we're inundated with wars and violence and death and this and that. And this is something fresh and different, even though it's a topic that many people have heard before, but it's like the sorbet for life, and people are really interested in this. What if everybody's kind of like, what if there were craft here? Maybe I can get on a craft, I go to another planet and I can explore it and life's better or whatever. So that's going to sell. This is the same reason why. Let's go back to Paul. He's doing what he's doing. It makes money. It's shock, and it's good shock, and it's not like it's not like a special video from someone that was videotaped while they were in bed. It's a different type of story that people they want. I think most people want to believe that there are other beings that are visiting here, and maybe we have the potential to have some kind of a relationship with them. That's why they're interested in it.
All right, let's get to you, Marquise. Your thoughts.
All right. So, dude, I just got to say first, I see you in the chat, Derek, and everybody else. I know you want to hear my opinion on Tucker. I'm not going to say anything bad about Tucker Carlson, but I will say this: two things. One, I remember a show that Tucker Carlson did, one of his his talks, where he literally just very explicitly suggested that people like that look like me make this country dirtier, poorer, and more violent. And his message has been pretty consistent about people that look like me forever. I don't even care, because he's the only reporter who has reported on this phenomenon in an actually an investigative reporter way. He's been respectful to the topic. He's taken it seriously. He doesn't make jokes about it. He brought Gary Nolan on. He's had plenty of people that he's spoken to on the show, and he's given credibility to the subject. Unfortunately, I don't think it's enough, because the people that listen to his show they're already open to these ideas. And so, just like we mentioned earlier about the Jake Paul situation, I think it needs to be put on another platform for it to be put in a broader, view for people to see that are not already interested in subjects like this.
Could be, but why do you think, Tom, and I'm going to bring this back to you, Thomas, here for a second. Why do you think other networks have been so hesitant to delve into the UFO subject when they know there's a big story there? The news is right there for them to grab.
How big of a story do they see it? Because if we look at it, all the news media has the mantra: if it bleeds, it leads. Unless there's an alien rip something apart on camera, or crashing out there in a spectacular view, they're always going to push it to the funny item at the end of the show. And that's just kind of where we're at. They're talking about it a little bit more seriously, but they're just not bringing it in, because when we have stuff going on in Washington, we have things coming from the different services, they cover it. So as soon as it drops out of the news cycle, they drop it like a cold potato.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with you. And to me, that answer, I still say to that answer, is it's ego on behalf of the news directors and the anchors who may not want to cover it. For instance, Don Lemon, when he was on CNN, and there's another guy who I'd like to put at center ice. Okay. I mean, he never covered this subject.
Is it Lemon or Lemon?
It's Lemon, but he goes Lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's also not called Fired.
Remember, guys, we're on radio. So he never covered the subject. Don Lemon never covered the subject. Yet other anchors like Anderson Cooper would go into that area, not very often, maybe a couple of times when things really got heated up. And he would get right into, kind of being the CNN version of Tucker Carlson on this. But it was never enough to give the subject enough credit. MSNBC really never has done nothing. Newsmax has really done nothing on the topic. And it makes me wonder why. Nicole, you have some strong thoughts on this. You're muted.
I think this probably is a little par for the course. So many times, I'm going to beat the drum again. This goes back to Roswell. They learned lessons. We see a pattern. One of the biggest things they did after Roswell is they started a smear campaign against contactees and experiencers. That's when, I mean, you can look CIA papers up on this. They were actively trying to discredit our community. And another byproduct of Roswell was they knew they had to start controlling the media. Now, it's squeaked out from whistleblowers over the years. And I even think recently Mr. Ramirez has said comments. I know Richard Doty has made comments that there aren't necessarily like active operatives to this day, but there are operatives in newsrooms or informants or people like that. So I just tend to think that, if they get a call from high up and they want a story killed, then a story gets killed. And UFOs might be on that chopping block across the board. So unless it's the biggest of the big stories, I think there is the conspiracy vein at play here. So
Very true. Random Gee, your thoughts?
Honestly, I don't really have anything to add on the matter. I think it's already been kicked apart. Unless you had a specific question.
The idea, Random Gee, that we see this controversial figure that is, technically now unemployed, but he was a champion for the UFO story. He did get to interview presidents about this. He did interview top scientists, fighter pilots. Okay. Elizondo, number of times. Chris Mellon, a number of times.
Yeah.
You could tell that this story was very much a matter of his heart. And once again, I remind people, I don't care what Tucker Carlson is or isn't. We're talking about UFOs right now.
Right.
So do you think that there is another media outlet, or do you think Fox News has anybody else that could really pick up the UFO story?
They're not going to do it. First of all, I don't like him as much now that Marquise told me that. I didn't know that. But second of all, unrelated, just keeping it on UFO topic. He's going to go where the money's at. And while he may champion it, he may believe in it, he'll bring that to whatever platform he goes to because he can monetize it and maybe get the answers he wants because that's a win-win for him. Fox isn't going to have anybody. People aren't, especially in the journalism field, unless they're, come from a background of ufology or studying stuff like that. They're not just going to show up and be like, "Hey, I'd like to take the reins on this." Rupert Murdoch, let me lead the way of the journey of disclosure for Fox News. That's not going to happen. It's probably not going to get mentioned again until the next Glenn Beck type, Alex Jones type guy that everybody says is crazy. But that's the one that's the next guy that's a little bit fringe like that. It's the next one you'll see on a cable news network that brings us to the forefront.
Or it's going to be an event like the 65th
Disclosure
anniversary of Roswell, and ABC News will do a 2-hour UFO special with the same interviewing the same people we see all the time, the same message over and over again. Maybe they'll throw a little disclosure in there. It's always like the special, and it comes every once in a while.
I think that they realize that the nature of what changes the public's mind when it comes to any subject, especially one that's as complicated as the UFO phenomena, they're looking at it from a multifaceted perspective where it's not just one specific outlet that needs to produce any kind of information about the phenomena or make any kind of statement. There needs to be a general acceptance and acknowledgement in talking about the phenomena from every single angle of our civilization, whether it be media, entertainment, and everything else, including official capacity like from the government and so forth. Otherwise, hearing it from one person and then an objective response like what happened with Kirkpatrick, who's running the Aero Department, that we found no evidence of extraterrestrial life involved with this phenomena, which is interesting because the term that he used was extraterrestrial. We know that there are other terms that we should consider, for example, ultra-terrestrial, because the phenomena appears to have been here forever, since before us, at least since the beginning of us. So the idea that they're using these again, there's competing within these departments. There are competing beliefs about it, and I think that's where the problem lies at the moment. There needs to be a unified conversation about it from every aspect of our civilization's life.
If I may, real quick, I will just say whatever's going to happen, whether it's Tucker, whether it's Congress, and Gillibrand, whoever, it needs to happen this summer. Because once we get into the fourth quarter of this year, nobody's going to run any stories except for politics and election
Right.
cycle for the next year. So it
Well,
needs
that
to
was
happen
talked
this
about.
summer.
That was talked about, that the objective is to get this into the political atmosphere, where they're using it to run for presidency, where this subject is now going to be part of the presidential debates, because that's allegedly that's the goal. That's the goal.
No one's doing debates though this year. There's
Yeah,
no
I
more
know.
debates.
Yeah, that's
So
insane.
good luck with that. It's all
That's
going to be
insane.
canned propaganda from both sides for the next 13 months.
I think
If I
you
may,
think
guys,
you're going to
it's
have
not going
something.
to happen in the Senate. It's going to be happening in the House, and with Representative Tim Burchett coming from the House Oversight Committee. That is going to be the blockbuster hearing, supposedly where Lou Elizondo is going to testify and many others. It's going to be one heck of a smash deal that we're looking for coming up in June. Now, if we look back at what we had just a couple weeks ago, nothing. We're basically taking and putting our toe into the water. What we're going to have in if what we're going to have coming up in June is going to be a whole, if you want to call Geraldo Rivera stage fight, where we're bringing out the chairs and hitting each other's on the head, and that's what it's going to come down to. And I'm looking forward to it. You know, I've been very tempered in my approach to see how we're going to see stuff for the hearings and for disclosure, but I think we're all going to be in for one heck of a treat of what's coming to us in June. The hearings are confirmed at this point. They're on the calendar.
I think even going along with what you're saying, random guy, with the politics, I do believe there is going to be a significant UFO event this summer, and to distract you from whatever information's coming out, investigative wise. We have a lot of things going on politically and financially. They don't want you to pay attention to it. So you're going to see maybe another mystery balloon thing, or maybe a craft that looks even better. And I'm going to go the route that it's probably Earth-based, reverse engineered, and they're going to just put on a show for people, and that will get the narrative going as well.
Well, I mean, to your point, Brian, the fact that, again, Kirkpatrick said during that meeting, that press conference with the Aero Department being questioned by Gillibrand, I'm sorry, by not just Gillibrand, but two people. I can't remember the two people that were there, the other person that was there, but the fact that he made the statement that there is no evidence of extraterrestrial life, I think that is the thing that made the people that are listening that are not involved in the phenomenon say, look, see, there's nothing to it. And the fact that he also said that his objective is to make sure to eliminate the Aero Department, so this becomes a mainstream process. Again, I think that is enough for people to take their minds off of the credibility of the subject. Again, the average person,
right?
Because this is the department that was delegated to investigate the phenomena, and they're making these statements, these definitive statements that there's nothing here, and we're trying to get rid of our own department. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things they're gonna, they always want to have a discredit. Let's move on to something that's more important. Then you want to have a group of people that really want to go further and want, I know why, I understand the disclosure thing, but it's wasting time, energy, and money for everybody. And people that aren't really in the know, I mean, like they don't understand, Space Force getting involved in this is major league. It is huge. And, but
it's not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Later on in the show, guys, we are going to get into The Nothing Out There by Sean Kirkpatrick. And we got a very, very busy show coming up here. What a roundtable we have tonight with Thomas Fessler from Disclosure Tonight, author, researcher, Nicole Sackich, Random Gee, Marquise Williams from After Hours on our YouTube channel, and Brian Bowden, the man with 11,398 podcasts, which run on 54 different networks that he has put together. Yeah, everywhere you go, there's a Brian Bowden podcast right there for your liking. When we return on Spaced Out Radio, oh my, Sean Kirkpatrick eats great. Our chat room on YouTube is on fire tonight.
Yes,
they are on fire tonight. We have Coming up next on the roundtable, the Nothing Burger hearings once again on UFOs. Senator Gillibrand talked tough going in, but literally laid an egg at the table when it was time to talk. We're going to get back with our great panel in hour number 2 on this subject right after this. Oh my God, Doug Shelby, you killed me.
I had to turn my camera off. I was like, dude, I'm dead. I can't recover. I'm not professional enough for this.
That was
I
great.
can't break character. I couldn't break character.
You're stronger than me, bro.
There's no character here. It's just me.
I read that comment like 3 times, and every time I read it, it got funnier.
That was
And then
great.
I saw Thomas caught on, and then Nicole caught on, and then Random.
I saw you laughing, and it made it worse. It's like giggle fest.
Oh my God!
It's infectious.
That's a great comment. That should be on a T-shirt right there.
Oh yeah, put it on the site, Dave. Come on.
T-shirt.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I got something for you to talk about, UFO related.
If it has anything to do with that patch beard you're wearing, I don't want to hear it.
Oh man.
Not a patch
Jeez,
beard.
brutal.
What about the 6 mutilated cows
Whistleblowers?
in Texas?
Yeah, we'll try and get to that. I do have that written down.
I thought we were going to talk about the
Because
whistleblowers.
it's been a while since we had something like that.
Yeah, also
All right.
the 6 whistleblowers that talked to the Aero Department before.
I got
getting here.
31 now.
Don't worry about it. Guys, don't give it up. We got a
31?
lot of show going on.
Okay.
A lot of show going on. I'll be right back. Random Gee, you're in control.
Oh, that's the worst thing you could ever say.
Well, I realize that.
What do we have? We have 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes,
Oh, no.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Hey, Google.
Got 4 minutes.
For 3.5.
All right, so here's the secret. I don't care what you do. Teacher's gone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, here we go. Let's just go crazy now. Let's take over the show now.
What's on a
I
site?
thought we already went crazy.
Quick, everybody put a wrestling mask on.
No, put on the wrestling filter. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll get out my tinfoil hat. There we go.
Tinfoil ears.
Oh my. Oh my.
I have one on deck over there.
I'll wear my woo hat. Yeah.
What is that? Is that a talking dog I see on the screen?
LA, and they're going woo woo woo. Pull over.
Wow. The chat is very funny. I know I've been reading your messages, chat, just so you know.
It's
and
good.
some of you are being bad. Like Derek, you're being a bad boy again tonight. I see you. Some of you
Yeah,
are being
Derek.
He's being
Nicole, are you
bad.
taking a dump or what's going on over there?
Oh my god.
Yeah. I took you guys to my bathroom.
Oh,
If I hear the toilet flush right now, I'm dead.
saying
I'm
Oh,
dead.
no.
Hey, you guys, you need to ask Dave about his phone message earlier.
the trick is don't bleach your teeth. Use what do you call it? Charcoal-based toothpaste. It does it for you every day, and it doesn't hurt the enamel.
You can charcoal everything now.
Oh yeah.
Nice hat. Sorry, Evan.
Sports ball hat.
It's my woo
Go
hat.
local team. Oh,
Go local team.
yay, local sporting team.
Ooh,
Team decent.
Spaced Out Radio.
They probably made you buy it too.
Thomas, where did yours go? Were those Mickey Mouse tinfoil ears?
Yeah, they are.
Lovely.
Yeah. I've worked for Disney a couple times in my life, so I have several Mickey Mouse hats around here. When I needed to have, I went on a podcast and it was something about the tinfoil hat. I created my tinfoil hat the best way that I know I could.
Last
That
time
worked.
Random Guy was on with Melinda, he put on his tinfoil hat and got scolded.
She got so mad. She got in her feelings when I did it.
Oh,
Seriously.
hey,
She went full Karen and the manager.
Oh yes, I played that clip back where you called her. You know, I need to see your manager. But luckily, when I was a kid, 3 years up, 4 years old, growing up, going to Kmart with my mom. Before there was Karen, that was Virginia, and that was my mom, and she taught me.
Wow.
My mom used to do it in the 80s with a cigarette in her mouth.
Love it.
Let me talk to him.
The point in the cigarette. And another thing. And another thing. Lady.
Here, hold this. She'd hand me her cigarette so she could yell at people.
All
Good old
right.
days when you can buy cigarettes in machines.
I used to take $20, we'd fill up the car, and the guy at the gas station would have me a pack of cigarettes for my mom.
Yep.
I was like 7, 8 years old. There you go. Those are the ones your mom smokes. Cool.
Wow.
Get me a pack of Camels.
Yeah. Linda A. Roraha, sorry. Welcome to SOR chat. And I think that's everybody else that we've got, everybody. So that's cool. We got about a minute to go here, guys. Minute to go. Hey, number one, welcome back.
You're number one.
Mm-hmm.
Engage, number one.
Yep.
There can be only one.
Pammy Smith, how are you?
The captain, number one. First
Yeah.
science officer.
Dave left for milk and he came back.
He's lost.
I'm 1 for 2. I'm 1 for 2 on Dad's leaving.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh no. That's terrible.
It's actually kind of true, though.
Bill H.
man.
Chairman Meow.
Oh,
How you
no.
doing? All right. Let's say thank you to Louie ×2, Brian, Larry, NorCal, Nancy H., Deb, Cat Chaser, Monica, Tim, and flash forward for the amazing super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show. And you can get your great swag at spacedoutradio.com. We got great shirts up there for you. So here we go with hour number 2, everyone.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Yo is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go with the panel once again as we are joined by Brian Bowden, podcaster extraordinaire. He's got like 17 different networks. We have Thomas Fessler from Disclosure Tonight. From our after-hour show on our YouTube channel, we have Marquise Williams. Random Guy is here, as well as Nicole Sakic, author and researcher. We're going to get into this nothing burger of UFO hearings that happened earlier this month. And once again, there's nothing short of disappointment when it comes to it. At least that's my opinion. What I didn't like about it was that Senator Gillibrand, just weeks before the hearing, Marquise, really started pushing the idea, where's the money going? We gave you defense money to start pushing this towards the Arrow program, and Arrow's not getting the money, according to Sean Kirkpatrick. The Pentagon is saying, we'll do what we want to do with the money. You give it to us. We disperse it how we see fit. She was talking real tough about it. And then when it came to the UFO hearings, nothing.
Well, there's a couple things about that I thought were interesting. The first thing was she claimed that she wanted to try to help the Air Department get the funding that they needed. She actually mentioned that she was going to put forth effort to make that happen. And now during the hearing, they did something that they don't usually do, and that's have the classified briefing first and then have the public briefing, which gave them an opportunity to not even talk about issues, including whether or not the funding was being appropriated properly, but also what kind of questions they could have asked that would have been that the response could have been, we will answer that in the private session. Now they can't do that. Now we can never speculate and wonder what kinds of things do they have information on that they don't want to tell us, because that tells us more about what's actually going on. So instead, they give us this clean cut narrative that they wanted to give us in the first place, and it was trash. So
Yep.
Totally trash. I agree with you on that. Thomas Fessler, let's get to you. I see you shaking your head.
Yeah,
You
I got up early. I covered the hearing live. We had a great panel of people watching the whole thing. Yeah, Kirkpatrick is the best way I could talk about Kirkpatrick's performance was how Lou, when he was asked about Kirkpatrick, he rolled his eyes and he was like, "You had to ask me about that guy, about this, didn't you?" You know, Kirkpatrick is nothing special. He's in bed with he co-wrote a paper talking about Oumuamua coming into our solar system as a mothership, dropping off UFOs to parachute down to our surface to slow them down. It's just,
that's
it's the
insane.
most absurd taking on it. This is the same guy who tried to throw anything with regards to the Nimitz incident out, which he was just called to that yesterday by Christopher Mellon. So, you know, we've got a stooge in there. We've got Moultrie who he works for, 11 million in funding when they're supposed to have the Jurassic Park of budgets to go ahead and do investigations. If there's a sightings going on repeatedly at locations, they're supposed to have teams of scientists, technicians, intelligence people who are going to jump on a transport plane to go to a location and do investigations on it when it's happening. The whole program has a lot of merit for what the law says, but the DOD is slow walking everything. And if they want to get anything done with it, they're going to have to pull it out. Otherwise, all we're going to have is stuff like Kirkpatrick coming forward, denying everything. It felt like Blue Book 2.0.
It really did. Nicole, your thoughts, because I know you and I talked about this, as after it happened, and we were just like, what the hell was this? I mean, it just makes you shake your head.
Well, I was watching it live from our friend Matt Ford's broadcast that he had. So his chat room got my initial uncensored thoughts. So I have had a little bit more time to process my thoughts. I think it's like a lot in our community are saying, maybe even like Ross and Bryce and their show, what stuck out with me first and foremost is Kirkpatrick looked miserable. He looked like the peeved off little kid that's like sat down in front of his parents and they're like forcing him to like talk about whatever the issue is. And he's like scathing.
Yeah.
My biggest takeaway is when he described this 5-step process of how they review this data that they're receiving. And I did have to flip back to my notes because the way he described it is that there was like 2 different investigative teams, and then it gets reviewed by a senior advisory board, which I thought was interesting, but it seemed lengthy. I don't really know how many cases they're able to go through. And then I was disappointed. There was no mention of the Wilson Davis notes. There was no mention of what else. Oh, we can get back to that because I can't find my notes on that yet. But the whistleblower protections, there was no mention of that either. And I think that's where Gillibrand fell a little short. I thought her questioning, her line of questioning was just a little weak. I thought she was going to come out,
Yeah, strong. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, let's get to a random guy here. This was a whole lot of political rhetoric going on, and there really wasn't anything that came to the table that was spicy. It was very vanilla, very beige walled. You could tell these people drove 4-door Volvos. Okay, I mean, boring as everything. Your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I've said this before. It was one of the most canned things. You could almost see him like Kirkpatrick nodding in approval, like, cool, you're staying on page, you're staying with the script. We're keeping time, we're keeping cadence. Just like you could almost see he's like, yep, he's nodding before she's finishing, like, cool. I know exactly what I'm going to say already before you even finish the question. So yeah, it seemed very canned. We knew it would be, right? I mean, I don't think anybody's really surprised. The only thing that could potentially even be interesting, really realistically, would be what's happening in the closed doors, and we're not going to get that. And even that, I'll bet you, is scrubbed to some degree. I'll bet you even that stuff is not full disclosure and full whistleblowing and full testimony of everything. So I mean, I've already made my opinion clear. I think Gillibrand's just doing it for popularity, just like she did with the crypto stuff, just like she did running for president. I don't know her. Maybe she's a nice lady. Maybe she actually cares, but it just comes off disingenuous because you would see a continuity of pressuring rather than just like, cool,
Yeah.
here, I'm the face of this. You guys got your dog and pony show. So, it just doesn't seem like she's that committed to it, to be honest with you.
Brian, what was amazing to me is a lot of her counterparts in the Senate who were very much about putting together the Arrow program, like Marco Rubio, Mark Warner, and many others. None of them were at that hearing. None
They
of
weren't
them.
going to go to it. That was a dog and pony show right there. I got to be honest. Everybody involved in that hearing, I think they all lost bets at the bar because, I mean,
Wow.
honestly, it just felt like, oh God, we have to go to, it felt like they were being punished for doing something wrong within the actual government. And like, no, you're going to be on the UFO committee.
Where
And I'm
is
sure one more second. I'm sure that whatever took place in secret or behind closed doors, I'm sure the on the military side of it, they said, no, you're just going to give us the money. We'll deal with it ourselves. They probably huffed and puffed, and they went back and forth, and they said, no, and then they planned this all out. I don't think they care. And this is what I was trying to point out before about disclosure. It's smoke and mirrors right now. And the people that really like Marco Rubio, he's not getting involved because he's needed in other committees. And I just think they're throwing these other politicians' bones. They have nothing else to do. I mean, you might as well just keep what's his name from PA to put him in there too.
Mike.
Yeah.
I just want to ask if I could, where in the heck is Senator Kennedy, the man who had the best statements after the initial briefing after we had Balloon Gate going on? What did he say? The cow was out of the barn.
Lock your doors.
Exactly.
Go home and lock your doors.
They've been trying to shut him up in a lot of ways lately.
I know.
Yeah, that was wild.
He's straddling a really tough fence right now, and they want him quiet. He went from one end of the political spectrum to another, and he started talking about, I'm going to say this in a really weird way, a lot of really important things that are taking place that are being covered up that are non-UFO related. And I don't think he would be involved in it because he's going to open his mouth.
Could very well be. The other thing that kind of got me about this panel was Sean Kirkpatrick made a statement about how he also believed that much of this information needs to go to private hands. And knowing his tie-in with Enigma Labs and Enigma out of nowhere getting into the NASA meeting, getting into meetings with Arrow, getting into meetings with Galileo Project, it really, really made me wonder whether or not this is who he was talking about. Thomas, I'm very curious what you think about that.
Well, we have to look at the situation with him being involved with it, but it really comes down to, if you look at Enigma Labs and how they moved up, the reason they got there is because they initially got funding from Peter Thiel, brought in, gave them like, was it $7 million in funding and set them up. And right after that, they were brought in, they got, if you want to call it, contracts with the government with regards to providing all their UAP data. They became parts of other organizations, and they're definitely there, and they've made a money grab. And in the way that I know that someone was very, very passionate on your channel the other day. And what just really was basically saying, we demand to see your manager. Within regards to the overall situation, with regards all the data for Enigma Labs is all going to be secret, and they're not going to be sharing it with the community. What do they have to hide? Who are they hiding it for? Is this just another organization that's, another government shill?
I think it is. I totally think it is. When you look at the idea that Peter Thiel, who is their main funder, is also the owner of a government defense contractor called Palantir, which provides all the computer security for their computers. And you look at it, it reminds me of that first tweet that came out from Enigma Labs where it said, we have no interest in government contracts, but we look forward to working with NASA and Arrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just, like,
Yeah.
I read that tweet about 75 times, wondering if I'm reading it wrong, and I was like, no, I'm not. And I remember, Nicole, I passed that tweet off to you. I'm like, what do you think about this? And Nicole, I know you got some thoughts about this.
I don't think I have different thoughts. I think they're elusive and contradictory, and that hasn't been the only one. I know that was an earlier one, but since Mr. Rojas has kind of taken over in whatever his elusive position is, it seems like posts will go up and then immediately come back down. That's a Tom DeLonge move as well. He'll post something and then it will come back down. You got to get good at the screen grabs. But I think Enigma seems like it's come out of nowhere, but it's actually been more behind the scenes and in place and emerging for the last 2 years. So it's just a shame that they haven't utilized more of the community to benefit their launch or their rollout, because it's leaving everybody with that, conspiracy theory, sick feeling in their stomach. So time will tell with them. They're coming out strong. If they can accomplish what they say they can, it's kind of a big deal. And so we'll see what they do in time, but they could be part of the shutdown too.
Very much so.
The Condon 2.0.
Well, we have debated the Enigma Labs here over the last couple of months regarding their secrecy and not telling people who's involved or who's doing their investigations. And, for many of us in the UFO field who have the ability to call things out like that, I think there's only been a few of us who've really done a good job at doing that. And kudos to the people who have, because when you see things that aren't adding up, you have to be able to make that shift, and you have to be able to say, look, this is a red flag for me. Whether you're a podcast host, a YouTube host, or a radio show like this one, that's our job, is to bring those variances to the public, But getting back to the hearings where Sean Kirkpatrick had stated that he wants it to go, or can see this topic going much more private. Why would it have to go private, random guy? What's the purpose of taking it private?
Well, yeah, we've already kind of hinted on this, because everything in the DOD or the government is subject to the Inspector General or oversight by Congress or the Senate. So when you privatize something, you could still attach an SAP program to a contractor. You can run it however you want with oversight from the DOD, but with plausible deniability and without accountability that you would have to do if you're running it through a military installation officially.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, it for the public to understand that, it would be free of FOIA requests as well.
Yep.
Correct. Absolutely. Unless the only way that it would be subject is if you had either an indictment or a wrongdoing of a government official, and part of that investigation involved, you'd need evidence of it, but you'd have to prove that they used taxpayer funds in an illegal manner. Outside of that, there would be no way to subpoena the corporate records unless they broke laws.
We have about 5 minutes to go before we got to go to break. At the bottom of the hour, the roundtable continues tonight. Marquise, what would you have liked to have heard in these hearings? What should have been?
I would have liked to hear, ladies and gentlemen, there is a non-human intelligence interacting with humanity and has been for thousands of years. The government has been aware of it for at least 80 years, and we have been trying to figure out what the phenomena is, what it wants, and why we are engaged with it. That's what I would have liked to hear. But more realistically, I would have at the very least, liked better language and more honest take on the phenomena. For example, the idea that Sean Kirkpatrick used the term extraterrestrial was not, that was an accident, that was strategic, because there is no proof that this is extraterrestrial. The idea that there is an alien race that's from another planet, from another solar system somewhere out there is, according to the data, at least that has been said by people like, for example, Jacques Vallée, is less likely. It's more likely that they're here and they've been here. What that means, whether they've been here and they are us, whether they're in another dimension, whether there's a multiverse, who knows? But they've been here, and they're not just coming from outer space. They're coming from in our oceans. They're coming from out of volcanoes. They're coming from inside the earth itself. So I think it was very clever of him to use that terminology and strategic. And I wish the term we would stop using ET, just because we need them to at least come up with something more accurate. And I think non-human would be a more accurate description of the phenomena. And I think more important than the UFO phenomena is who's driving these things. Why are we not talking about who the heck is driving them? It's not even a part of the conversation. It's like, oh, there are lights in the sky, there's these anomalies, there's this. Who's operating them? The most important question of all isn't even being considered.
That too, but here's another thing that I noticed, and random guy, I know you commented on it just a couple nights ago when we talked about it, so I'm going to keep you away from this one. But one of the things that I noticed about this was from the Chinese balloons straight through to where we are today with these latest hearings. To me, it drew a real thick line in the sand that there is a big difference between UAP and UFOs. To me, I have really, really learned, and yes, I know I'm in the minority here, but I've really learned in watching what Lou Elizondo has stated, in watching what Sean Kirkpatrick has stated, and what was stated by military people discussing the balloons. I was really, really driven to the fact that UAP are man-made, Brian. UFOs, they don't have a clue of what they are.
Exactly. And getting back to Marquis' thing, maybe they should call it a UET instead of a UAP, a UET, unidentified extraterrestrial. But if we're going to go with that whole U stuff, they have no idea. I've always said that when you get evidence and you get some really good evidence and it's clear and usually triangular, you're not looking at anything extraterrestrial. It's 100% reverse engineered. And when you get these a fuzzy craft or something, then you're looking at something real. UAP is just a nice way of saying, I'm going to say it, man-made. And you're right about the ultra terrestrials. I mean, we're talking about individuals or races of different races that have been on this earth long before we've been here, millions of years.
Right.
And are they here as I want to say like in a diplomatic capacity or an observing capacity, or are they here to live and they're just now being discovered? And you forgot about interdimensionals as well. So there's a lot going on here.
I did mention that the audience is lighting me up for it, but it's
light me up all they want.
My new favorite is extra tempestrials, or as Dave likes to say, extra Temptation Island pestrials.
Wow.
Extra Temptation
From Dr. Masters. Like, yeah, I like it.
But yeah,
it'll
the
catch
UAPs
on.
I mean, everybody asked me, like, what about the UAPs? I'm like, they're not real. That's what I said. UAP equals not real or terrestrial, and and UFO is could be anything.
Well, I apologize for interrupting, but I think that one of the most important things when talking about this subject to the average person, even our audiences, is using the right language, because there's social engineering is a big part of what the government, I think, is doing. I think they're implementing a social engineering program to control the narrative. I think that we all kind of understand that that's what's happening with the government's its newfound discovery of these different things in the sky they're trying to create the narrative so that they can get ahead of what's probably already coming anyway. There's going to be an event or something that's happening because there is an exponential increase, as has been said by the military, of the phenomena in our skies. So, and then to the point of UAP and UFO, I think that when it comes to UAP, yes, they are they are describable. We know what they are, balloons and stuff. But when you talk about,
You got to hold that thought on the butt. Hold that thought on the butt. Marquise Williams, Brian Bowden, Thomas Fessler, random guy Nicole Sackage, all for the round table tonight, talking UFOs. When we return, there's nothing out there, according to Sean Kirkpatrick. We'll be right back. Got to get you used to the hand signals.
sorry about that, man. I apologize. I'm glad you got me off guard.
You just try to treat Marquise like Tucker Carlson for a second.
Slap me around a little bit. I might like it.
I thought you were saying whoopity doo. Whoopity doo. I was so pissed. I was like, what?
I didn't know how much I tried to
hurry up. We got to bring this to a close.
Wrap it up.
It all works.
Maybe Tucker Carlson will get a job at Enigma.
Oh wow, that'd be
That's where
interesting.
Patrick's gonna go.
I agree with you there.
So
I think
like,
one.
and I was just gonna say, like, you have all these people talking about UAPs and UFOs. Anybody want to start talking about Valiant Thor?
Oh gosh.
There's not enough corroborating data to even. I mean, we could talk about it as an interesting theory, and I believe it's true. But how do you validate that to the general public?
I'll tell you what. Let's go with a modern day version.
We're going to talk about Valiant Thor. Let's talk about Skinny Bob.
Skinny Bob. I mean, that's more. That's got more data on it than
How about
anything.
talking about there's other countries who are coming forward. They're reaching out for experts to go ahead and come up with a plan to bring their people, their science, their military, and their government and their religion up to speed right now at this time, and things are already in play, because when the truth comes out, they don't want their societies, their governments, their religions to take an impact. It's just a reality of where we're at right now.
Somebody was
play over a year ago.
There's a very interesting video that came out when the former President Trump went to New York City to be arraigned, and there was a very interesting guy in the background. And I posted a video that someone really isolated and pulled it. If you want to see somebody who was shape-shifting, and I'm not kidding, go look at this guy.
I'm gonna tell you something right now, Brian. I used to be so strongly against the idea of human-looking aliens or shape-shifting. I mean, really, really against it.
Yeah.
But when I heard this, I mean, when you think about the data, the amalgamation of data that's involved with the phenomena, especially the abduction phenomena, there is a genetic component, including a hybridization program that's being implemented by these beings.
You're already looking at them.
Exactly.
Look in the mirror.
They look like us. They look like. I mean, they've been tampering with our DNA, according to John Ramirez.
We are the hybrids.
We are part of the
there's
hybrid.
something else
with a base DNA and
something else added in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what about people who I mean, there are so many examples of women who say they've been abducted, had children, and they don't look like us. They look like a mix between us and Grays.
Look back to a bunch of people in America from the 1800s and the early 1900s. People from Tennessee, Missouri, Louisiana. You'll see a lot of people back then. You're like, oh my God. But you know what? Humanity as itself has many faces, and just because we're seeing things now that is infrequent to us, man, I've seen some really interesting, beautiful people from Russia.
Yeah, wouldn't that be
look at and you're like, huh?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a consequence of the demographic changes? I mean, that's kind of like there's a lot of mixed integration in the U.S. That has caused a huge. I mean, you're talking about different people from different cultures, different places interbreeding,
and we may be looking at stuff that's inbred, that's not really changed over a long period of time.
I'm talking about something more explicit. I'm talking about an actual integration between a hybridization between us and them, not us being just the manipulated genetic, because we have been, according to some like John Ramirez. been
know.
manipulated.
There are
But
some
what-
people that I'm telling you, I see it. I had one of my friends got married to this woman, and she introduced me to her mother, who was into the UFO subject, and she had a younger daughter, and all the signs, everything she started telling me about how many different visitations and at night and all. She's thoroughly been abducted, and if you look at this girl, she is your atypical classic hybrid star child. Now, when you do go back to your science classes, when you have source A and B, and you
We
start
only got 30 seconds, guys.
going back and forth, you're going to get like AA, BB, AB, BA, and eventually you're going to breed out either human or extraterrestrial. And I think some of the byproducts of star children, big eyes, blue, really intelligent. It's not just, we got a lot of them
right.
here.
Sorry, guys. Got to get ready here to go. Thank you to Louie with the hat trick, Brian, Larry, NorCal, Nancy H, Deb, Cat Chaser, Monica, Tim ×2, and flash forward, Mike and W. Decker for the super chats. Very much appreciate the love. Here we go with the next half hour. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you tuning us in for the roundtable. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with our panel tonight. We are joined by Random Guy, Brian Bowden, Nicole Sackage, author and researcher. From Disclosure tonight, Thomas Fessler. From After Hours on our YouTube channel, Marquise Williams is here. We're going to stick with Sean Kirkpatrick, the head of the Arrow program, which is the basically, to break it down into English, the UFO program at the Pentagon. And one of the statements he made when he was talking with Senator Gillibrand was he doesn't believe, or there hasn't been any evidence of UFOs or extraterrestrial life out there. Now, we're dealing with a bunch of people here who literally have had experiences like that. Random Guy, we're going to start with you on this one. As an experiencer of seeing aliens in your bedroom, you know, I mean, no, it wasn't a dream, you know. How do you feel about Kirkpatrick blatantly coming out publicly and the media all over that one quote, there is no evidence of UFOs or extraterrestrial life visiting this planet?
Well, for starters, my experience was a dream, psychosomatic event, if you will, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. In regard to,
I'm just going to mute you right there, Nicole. Is this a true statement that it was a dream that Random Guy had? Could you maybe comment on that with your microphone on, please, Nicole?
We all say they're dreams until we admit they're not dreams. That's the only thing I'll say. It's a process we all travel through.
That's true. Very true.
Random Guy, about this afternoon.
What happened this afternoon, Random Guy?
Uh-oh.
Why you got to be in my personal business like that, Nicole? No, we're good. I'd like to comment on Mr. Kirkpatrick's comment.
Random Guy, show me where he touched you. Show me where he touched you.
It was right. It was.
That's it.
It was
around
right
here. I
there.
figured. Come in. Come on, big guy. Bring it in.
Come on, let's bring out the limited edition alien probe.
No, I think to disregard that it's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, you know, there's no evidence. Well, that's a pretty profound statement. I don't know how you can say there's no evidence. You might say that the scientific method that we've employed here, using our 5 steps and 2 teams, has borne no concrete evidence. But to say there's no evidence is kind of a fallacy in itself. It's dismissive almost. So I can see why experiencers would get pissed off about that. Since I'm not an experiencer, didn't bother me too much, but I understand why others would be bothered.
Oh no, you're not an experiencer when you have two grays at the end of your bed tickling your feet. No, and then what happened, random guy? After that, they took you on a craft and were working on your jaw.
I watched too much SOR. That is my story.
Brian,
Gives
does
me
that
joy.
sound like a dream to you?
No. No. It's not. You know what? You can
He's
if you
got
feel,
aliens.
if random guy, if you feel comfortable saying it's a dream, God bless you. Be comfortable with it. But you got anal probe, buddy. Like,
I mean,
those
I've
are like
had
all
worse.
random guys running around up there, like half random guys, half aliens. You know, I mean, that's what
Well,
it
Probably
is.
that's
I hear
probably a
they
pretty
sell
cool
those on a
alien.
Black Vault
I
store
agree.
on eBay.
My kids are going straight to the league.
Hey, you know, if I have kids up there, I just want their social security number to claim their taxes. That's it.
I already have enough child support, so I don't need that drama in my life. So extraterrestrial child support is terrifying. to me.
Oh man.
That would be incredible to watch.
The bill would be astronomical.
All right, let's get to Nicole here. Sean Kirkpatrick saying there's no evidence.
That was like a gut punch moment, because I think there's a lot of us who've been following along, especially since the last hearings and Maelstrom was brought up. And we've also known from Mr. Salas that he has talked with Arrow, along with, I forget his name. Oh, darn it. I apologize. But another witness from Maelstrom also came forward and testified. So, on the heels of that, for them to say no evidence of extraterrestrial life, then what excuse did they give for Maelstrom, and why haven't we heard? So that's kind of what stuck out to me concerning the no proof yet. So we'll see.
The funny part about that, though, Thomas Fessler, was that the media focused on that one comment. That was it. That there is that all the tinfoiler hat people can go back in the closet and they can shut the hell up, because Sean Kirkpatrick says there is no evidence of extraterrestrials being on this planet. You're muted, Thomas. We'll get you to unmute.
They denied that, and they also denied having any evidence, which took everything that happened at the Nimitz incident and threw it under the bus. So, you know, at the point of what we're hearing, you know, the news is going to pick any little, if you want to call it, soundbite. Granted, if you want to call it, they got their win this time for the situation of where they're playing it. But you know what? It's a ball game, and we've got Tim Burchett coming up to bat in June, and I'm gonna look forward to see how he's going to handle that, because there are going to be some amazing sound bites. They're going to take any of the doubting thoughts in the situation, how he wants to downplay it. Again, Blue Book 2.0, and that's the point we need to get across to the general public is, you know, let their words and what they're saying sink them. I mean, what Kirkpatrick has said. Also, you've got Avi Loeb going out against all their science research and information that's coming out of Ukraine. That's true science, to go ahead and bring forward actual observations of UAP. And we're taking everything back and trying to put it in a box, and everyone's going to see what he's about.
You can't find some. You know, his statement is basically, we went looking for something, but we weren't using our eyes. If you're not going to find something if you're not looking for it, or you don't, or you put your parameters so tight. No, we can only go this way, and then this box, and then we have to. They're not looking for it. They're purposely not looking for it. Therefore, they're never going to find any extraterrestrials because they don't want to.
Oh, Dave, I got it. Sorry, Nicole. I'm like anxious right now. Oh my gosh, there's so many things.
I was going to toss in, you know, this comment right here, Dave. I think I messaged you and said, that's a nail in the coffin. And if NASA follows up with their study in the next few months. It should be wrapped up. If they come out and say something similar, then that's a second nail in the coffin to kind of beat disclosure back down where it belongs.
Oh
Go
my
ahead.
gosh, no. Okay,
Go.
so
Let's go.
there's a couple of things that okay. So first, I want to address something that Thomas mentioned, and that was about the Kiev. There's an observatory in Kiev where the scientists there or the astronomers there are using multiple, and I have to state this, I want to be very clear, multiple different sensor cameras to track objects that are kilometers wide, traveling at Mach 10 and above. And Avi Loeb, after Kiev, the observatory in Kiev released that information, Avi Loeb rejected it because he said essentially that they nothing that big can move that fast, therefore it's not possible. Which is why when you guys mentioned earlier about the report, that the suggestion that there's a possibility that an alien mothership could be in our solar system, that was co-produced by Avi Loeb. And so that ridiculous narrative that you mentioned earlier, that's what you're talking about, the same person that's in complete denial of the capabilities that we've been seeing forever. Now, to your point, Brian, and I hope I forget a lot of things. I apologize if I forget, but now I don't even remember what I was going to say about that. But what did you say? What did you say? What was your main thing
You're
there?
not going to find something if you don't go look for it. Or
To
you
your
put
point,
parameters.
They mentioned that before. NORAD turned. This is they're implying themselves here. They turned their sensors down because they didn't want to pick up on objects that might be what they call themselves UAP, what we call what actual UFOs were. They were intentionally filtering out those objects. Then they said, after this situation with the UAP situation, the balloons, they said we turn them, we adjust them again to pick up more sensor data, and when using AI to try to filter out each object and determine what they actually are. So the idea that Sean Kirkpatrick doesn't have that data means that they're not collaborating with these other departments at all, which means there's no real support for Arrow. Is a joke. Arrow is a joke. It's a waste of money. And somebody else mentioned, and this is what else I wanted to mention. Bill H said a Marvel movie cost $1 billion, and Arrow got 11 million. It is a joke. It's a joke.
It serves a purpose. We're gonna investigate this. No, we're not. Here's $11 million. Okay, there's no extraterrestrials. Let's go. Lunch. Boom. We're out. They're doing what they said they would do, but without doing it. And it costs $11 million.
It's never enough money. We've heard that, since the Advanced Theoretical Physics Working Group. There's never enough money to accomplish what they need. There's always a lack of organization. So we're seeing that as well. I'm going to toss in a little bit of Kirkpatrick's comments on Arrow being temporary. He made it sound very temporary, like this was like a place card or a pin.
Right.
Until the Navy and the Air Force and Space Force can start their own data collecting thoroughly and
a transitory effort.
They're sharing. And I didn't like that at all. Just give the hens back to the fox. Don't even build them a hen house. Yep. Just like shove them in the fox den. Like,
yeah.
That was different clearances that know different things.
It's
and when
always
you get to the top clearance, they're not sharing. They're not.
They have the data though. They have the
everything.
data.
Everything everybody wanted to hear and see. They have bodies. They have craft. They have reverse engineered. They can make their own ETs or grays. I mean, they can do it all. They're not going to give away the store. One, for national security, and two is for power.
I think it's more important to ask the question why. I mean, we can say things like, "Oh, they say it's national security," but that's kind of a flaccid reason for why they don't tell us what's going on, or at least admit something to the point to the evidence of the phenomena and its performance capabilities. Instead of at least acknowledging that, which is already that's enough. You don't even have to say aliens. Tell us what they can do, what these things can do. Travel at Mach 10. Bring up the information from the observatory in Kiev. Bring up that data. Talk about that data, because that's already earth-shattering alone. If somebody has that capability and they're terrestrial, game over. Somebody is our gods on this planet if they have that capability.
We have.
And I think
We have that capability. We it's been estimated through, I was talking to a lot of researchers, my research, a couple other people. We are about 100 to 100, I mean, about 125 to 150 years ahead of everybody combined.
We're talking that is
on this
beyond
planet.
100. Gary Nolan said
Huh.
he said that we're talking hundreds of technological revolutions.
I'm just
ahead.
saying the US itself on this planet is about 150
Right.
years ahead of everybody. Here's the problem. We know what's out there, and we know that whatever that craft is, we've got the Yugo of that craft on this planet.
Not even.
I'm just using it as an example.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a Yugo, and they're in a Lambo, okay? And we know that we can only go so much to, what we can do, and we cannot go anywhere near what these other races are doing.
I mean, the new Top Gun had Mach 10.
Mach 10 and above, man.
Though. You can't
And
disclose
shut.
this, because then what happens is you have Russians trying to develop stuff, you have the Chinese trying to develop stuff, and then you really get the tension brewing. And we have enough tension right now. Forget it. Light a match, and it's going to all blow up, and it's not going to be good for anybody. So, I mean, there is a national security thing here, but the problem is, whose nation are they supporting?
Well, I wanted to
US
mention
or
something that
within the U.S.
I want to mention something that Gary Nolan said, and I pulled this comment up because I thought it was the most important thing about this entire phenomena in general. This is it. This is from the documentary The Phenomena. I watched it again in preparation for this. You're talking about something which has properties where somebody is putting it together at an atomic scale. We're building our world with 80 elements. Somebody is building the world in 253 different isotopes. They are manipulating reality itself to create their craft, and it can't be done on this planet. The level of technological advancement, it's not, we can't even there's not a number to put against where we are versus where they are. It's just beyond us. It will always be beyond us. We will never catch up to them.
Yeah.
So we know that it's not us.
Bingo. I'm with you 100%. There's no way we have this technology. We can fly down Greer's Tier 3B with his false flag event and everything. I don't take it. We don't have this technology. We're not close to even building this technology. If you want to create a millimeter by a millimeter square of these metamaterials, it's going to cost you billions of dollars. It's going to take you 10 years. We don't have the tech. We're not even it's not like comparing a Yugo to a Corvette. We're comparing someone with a homemade pair of roller skates to someone in a Corvette. It's kind of more of an accurate representation of where humanity is compared to a civilization who has equivalently harnessed the power of a black hole. We can't even get fusion right, barely. And that's the power of a sun. We're on something that is so many leagues beyond our ability. You need alien technology in order to understand the alien technology is where it's at.
You need to not only the alien technology, you need to get off this planet. We have to, there are elements involved in this that don't even exist in this galaxy.
Yeah, with isotope,
or dimension, or universe. And that's where, I mean, that's how huge this is. If you have something that's an interdimensional, think about that. What it takes to go to interdimensional. That alone.
Maybe it's as simple as in a different frequency of vibration that all matter operates at.
Yeah, and we're talking about things that are on the level of gods. Gary Nolan said we're looking at a phenomena that is on the same par with angels, demons, and gods, meaning that there's something that's so
gods, not
obvious. No. Angels, demons, and gods, plural, small g, because we're talking about again, we're talking ancient, and it's been here forever
and ever. They have been here throughout humanity, and if not longer.
Well, I just wanted to give a shout out. Sorry, go ahead.
Who's the shout out?
I was just going to give a shout out to Marquise for using the word flaccid and a UFO argument. So thanks, bro. Good work.
Why would you focus on that?
And getting back to the whole technology thing, I think some of the technology people know about, and I think was found on a little place called Atlantis, and that was a proof of these beings existing and coming here, maybe trying to manipulate, their hybrid.
I wonder. I hear the story. There's a story, and again, we got to be careful about what we talk about. There's a story about human beings at one point in our history being collaborative in such a way that we could reach the gods themselves, right? And that was rejected that was seen as a problem because they could achieve, human beings could achieve what God or the gods could do. And so there was this event that happened that confused the languages and spread human beings across the globe, so they couldn't collaborate that way. It caused division, literally purposefully causing division, so humans can't achieve that technology. I wonder if that might be the civilization that we're digging up under the oceans and stuff like that we're seeing throughout. I mean, I don't know, but it is a curious thing, and it does make you wonder.
It's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. We would get to a certain point, we mess up, they destroy it. Billion years later, we come back and we rebuild it again.
Yeah.
Don't
We're
forget
getting pretty deep. We're going deep down the woo train here. We're getting deep in the rabbit hole, Dave.
There is some serious woo here, because we got about 4 minutes to go before we go to break here at the bottom of the hour here on the round table tonight. Make that top of the hour. I can't even remember. There's so much woo happening around me. But getting back to Kirkpatrick, the one thing that I want to focus on for the next few minutes, and I stated it earlier and we kind of went off the rails, is, Thomas, the only statement that the mainstream media heard was, we don't got aliens here. And that has set off all of the skeptics, the Mick Wests of the world, the John Greenwalds of the world, the Stephen Greenstreets of the world. And it is the perfect hiding place in plain sight for the government people and the agencies to do their work on this subject.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, it's one statement, and this is not, to quote Lou Elizondo, this isn't a sprint, this is a marathon. This is something that's going to take some time, and it's escalating and it's moving forward. And yes, we've got this one little piece of, a little bit of, if you want to call it, I'll call it again, Blue Book 2.0, 3.0, whatever you want to call it, where they're trying to deny, and maybe this is their last big hurrah before they get served a really big plate of, you're going to tell the truth or you're going to go to jail.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I think Thomas is 100% correct. I think again, to the social engineering aspect that I mentioned earlier, I think that the people behind this they're not perfect, they're not geniuses, but I think they understand how society works and how we operate on a social level, and how to manipulate that. I mean, think about the media itself. It's literally there to essentially control and manipulate the public. Why can't they use the same principles to use this phenomena and manipulate us, the society, in a social engineering, to kind of push for disclosure in a very controlled, very slow and measured way? I think that you're right, Thomas.
Nicole, you're thinking of this.
Oh, I agree too. I agree with Thomas and Marquise.
Power comment there.
It's compact, man. It's direct. It's to the point.
That's why we bring her on the SOR roundtable, to bring power statements just like that.
Oh man,
there's nothing wrong with agreeing with my counterparts here.
No, I understand that. I guess for me, the way I look at it from a media standpoint is, the media has wanted this topic to go away for a long time. They don't like covering it. They don't want to cover it except for a very few members of the media. And this was a very good way to start buttoning up that UFO t-shirt, so that way there's nothing exposed anymore. And I just don't like it. I don't like it at all, because I think it takes away a lot of momentum from that, because the media only focuses on certain aha, gotcha type of statements. They're not looking for the full hit anymore. They're not doing their job as journalists. They haven't for a long time, unfortunately, on numerous subjects. I just think that it's a dangerous road we go. This is also going to play a higher importance on what we do on this show, what Thomas does on his show, what Marquise does on his show, Nicole, what you and Grant do, or any future podcast that you and Random Gee are going to be doing. I mean, Brian, he's just happy to have 18,000 podcasts talking to one.
Right, 19 now.
19 now. Oh my gosh, keeps increasing. It's fantastic.
Go ahead,
Dave,
Mark.
the thing that bothers me about this entire process that's happening with Arrow, and even from since 2017, where I was really into the idea of government officials breaking free from the clutches of the DOD and the Pentagon and fighting against that secrecy and privacy by trying to push for disclosure. What bothers me is that even when people do exactly what we want, we fight them.
That is right. All right, we have another hour to go here on the Roundtable tonight on Spaced Out Radio with Nicole Sackage, author and researcher. From Disclosure Tonight, Thomas Fessler. From his own podcast network, Brian Bowden. From After Hours, Marquise Williams and Random Guy. And when we come back, Experiencers and Gary Nolan. Now we get to have fun after this.
Oh, yeah. BT Dub, 2 experiences, Dave. I've only had 2 experiences with the phenomena that I can remember, anyway.
That's because you used the word UAP and they said, we're out of here.
I used to. And then I learned, it took me a while, thanks to you, they're clearly drawing a difference between UFO and UAP. Clearly. Obviously.
Yeah. Random
I mean,
is always a good one to bounce shit off of like that. That's what he's
Well,
good.
I mean, when it comes to accuracy, I get that this phenomena is anomalous. Technically, it's anomalous, but so is a toy car flying across your field of view in the peripheral that you don't know. Like, everything is anomalous. And I think they purposefully gave it a broader, but technically more accurate description for a reason.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh,
But
Dave
also,
left.
it can. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I've got a cut out here soon, guys. I've got a 19-year-old puppy I need to take care of, and she's got
Dang.
doggy dementia, and she's almost hurt herself a little bit ago. So I've
sorry
got to
to
be
take
watching
off.
over her a bit more. This is during the time of night that she's usually up, so I have to be on call, if you know what I mean. That's why I've been popping on and off camera. Not trying to be rude or anything, but yeah, I'm just.
No, you're good, bro. Handle your family.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She has my.
Hey, Thomas, by the way, at some point, I'd like to connect with you if you ever have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Reach out. Dave's got my number.
Cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great conversation today, guys. It's
Yeah.
been great going back and forth on the subject. I'm glad you guys are picking up on some of the vibes where I'm at. I just like to look at it. It's a long haul. Another way to look at it is we can't judge the tide based on one night. You have to understand the full cycle of the moon.
I agree. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll get to your dog, brother. Marquise will keep an eye on me.
Absolutely. You guys have a good one. I was going to say goodnight today, but he can watch it on Team Rewatch.
Yeah, Team Rewatch. Take care,
Appreciate
man.
you, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
And then there were 2.
And then there were 2.
East Coast, West Coast going on right here.
Yeah, this is it's a touchy topic. I mean, I just saw Gary. This is what bothers me the most about what's happening with this whole situation. I just watched Gary Nolan remove comments from Christopher Mellon and Gary Nolan remove comments from their Twitter posts because people are so negative and they attack them. And it's like, where are we? Where are we that you got I don't know the long accurate title but the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Intelligence for the Department of Defense, whatever, that said that there's non-human intelligences, wrote articles and all this, several articles on this phenomena being not human. And we got it. We have official people coming out and talking about it in like Christopher Mellon, and the community is attacking them because they don't say that there are space brothers here to help us advance our evolution. You got to start somewhere, first of all. And there is a transformative, aspect to the phenomena, especially with the abduction phenomena. There's a transformative effect on us when we encounter them. But you got to start with something. You can't just jump to alien brotherhoods and galactic federations on day one.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing about this galactic federation and the giant table with all these different creatures on it.
It's
frustrating. Out if they're gonna have Japanese or pizza for lunch. It's
frustrating.
What? The majority of my research and with people who are experiencers, multiple experiencers all over, have interactions with these beings after a while. I'm sorry, but they're not here to help us as much as everybody wants to believe they are. I mean, it's a great
Yeah.
fantasy. They're here to help themselves.
Yeah, I've been
And they're
attacked
very-
for suggesting that, by the way.
I
I mean,
say
like,
it all the time. I don't care what
yeah,
anybody attacks me with. I really don't care anymore. I don't have time for the BS and holding hands for the most part. They're here because their race is dead or gone, and they're trying to replenish their race. That's why they're doing what their experiments are. And it depends on the race. Some have
Right.
been here longer. Some have really manipulated the earth, the earthlings that are here in whatever manner. And it's not about, that Star Trek crap doesn't work.
yeah, I don't particularly know exactly what their intentions are, but I also agree. I do not think that they are here to hold hands with us.
No.
I haven't gotten that. I mean, look at the data. Look at the abduction phenomena. Listen to John Mack.
Where did Thomas go?
He had to go. His dog has dementia, is almost hurt himself. So
Ooh.
Okay, that sucks.
Yeah,
Oh,
it does.
it's really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, his dog's 19.
Oh Lord.
Oh my gosh, how?
God bless. Yeah.
God bless that dog for making it that long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay, sorry
I'm
guys.
trying on some different looks.
Is that for your only page?
How about this one? Go with the pink. Should I go with the pink?
Oh, pink is good. It matches your hair.
Pink?
I mean, it's
Pink
close.
Gender reveal.
Gender reveal. Oh man.
It's
Oh,
an
man.
ET.
It's
Don't
a
ascribe-
hybrid.
Give it a chance to describe its own gender.
Oh boy, don't get us started down that path.
Seriously,
Let's
these
not go there.
sorry. Just
they come past this planet.
I
They're like, lock them
apologize.
up, kids. Lock the doors, guys.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding, guys. Please don't.
You're canceled, Marquise.
Oh man.
Yeah, Marquise is the former host of the After Hours.
Say goodbye, guys.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, his payout is a case of Bud Light. And
Thanks,
thank
Dylan.
you to our
Severance pay is.
Thank you to our super chatters, JSCO, Learned Fish, W. Decker, Mike, Louis ×3, Tim ×2, Flash Forward, Monica, Cat Chaser, Deb, Brian, Larry, NorCal, and Nancy. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Yo is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with our panel tonight. Marquise Williams from our After Hours show. Brian Bowden is here, master of the podcast, author and researcher Nicole Sakic, and Random Guy is here. We had to say goodnight to Thomas Fessler as his doggy, who is 19 years old, named Cupcake, wasn't feeling very well. So he had to depart ways from us tonight. But nonetheless, the show will go on. And Dr. Gary Nolan from Stanford University has been one of the biggest voices and proponents of not only ufology, but the experiencers that go along with them. He has conducted numerous studies at his own lab named after him at Stanford in regards to brain activity and ET and UFO contact. This is something that he's very passionate about. He's an experiencer himself, although he lets the science do the talking over the experience. But he said something on Twitter that really hit home for many of us here. Okay. And I believe it should have. The reason why is he put out a tweet about experiences and the fact that, and I'm going to read this. He goes, anecdotal evidence by credible witnesses, especially when they describe similar observations, is data. Some of the most important discoveries in history of science were not observed under controlled laboratory conditions. They are what one would call, at the least, preliminary data that sets the tableau for hypotheses and replicable testing. Now, here's where I find it funny. We have heard numerous scientists, including Dr. Rich Hoffman, on this show, who have stated the experiencer means nothing. Would the public please go away? Let the scientists, let NASA do their jobs. Let the people who are professional in looking up in the sky do their jobs. We don't need grainy videos from your phone. We don't need anecdotal stories. We're over them. We're done with them. They don't help the cause. And yet here we are. Dr. Gary Nolan saying absolutely the opposite, Nicole Sackich.
I think Dr. Nolan is just kind of echoing what we've heard from people like the great Mr. Valet and my excellent UFO boss, Grant Cameron. And that's experiencers. And I do like how Valet puts it. You know, you can talk to a lawyer or a farmer, and they're going to describe the same event using different words and different terminology and give a different perspective. And that data is important to gain what Gary is talking about, this preliminary data and what to do with it. I can't really think of a better way that's more encompassing when this phenomenon is so vast. You know, how can you really ignore the testimony from the firsthand experiencers? So I'm glad Mr. Nolan's speaking up on this. I think we are kind of seeing this slow rise of the experiencer. And I think it's because, like we've said time and time again on this show, the people that are interested in this, especially the ones in the government, we're finding out more and more of them have their own experiences. And that's why they're interested in this. And that's why they're pushing for it. So Mr. Nolan's on that list himself.
No, and I agree with you. And the fact that, you know, we have been one of the only shows who's a proponent of the experiencer. We hear so many podcasts out there, so many YouTube channels, absolutely yelling and screaming from the high hills of ufology, stating, we're done with the stories. We're done with the anecdotal evidence. Show us the proof, even though we don't know what proof is anymore, because everything can be modified by CGI or Photoshop. I think it's a very important statement, Marquise, that really backs the experiencer in regards to that their stories are needed. They are necessary. The trends that people have are very much about getting things going and getting these studies started. I think it was a very important comment.
You know, I think it was extremely important. I think that it kind of, for me, the idea that the abduction phenomena isn't talked about by, for example, the Pentagon, the DoD, the government, and Aero Department, that it's not being used as data when referencing UFOs or whatever they want to call UAPs. I think it's strategic, because think about this. You tell the world, hey, just so you guys know, there's something out there that can take you from your home no matter where you are, conduct experiments on you. Some of them, they are reproductive in nature, make you have a baby and then take that baby after the first trimester and then show it to you, but then never tell you why they did it in the first place and never let you see the baby again after that. Can you imagine? Plus, ad infinitum, all the different abduction accounts that Whitley Strieber's, Terry Lovelace's, you know, let them admit that those things are real for anybody. And we've got a much bigger problem than lights in the sky being unable to be identified. We got something much bigger going on. So I think that it's not necessarily that they're like, oh, this isn't important. I think they know it's of utmost importance, and they can't do. There's no way they can admit that they can't protect the people from whatever this stuff is coming into their homes and taking them without their permission.
No, I fully agree. Brian, let's get your thoughts on that, because I really need to hear your opinion regarding this. I mean, so many times the experiencers are shoved to the side and shoved to the point of trying to really benefit the story. But the experiencer is moved back. Get out of here. We don't need you. We need real science. We need real proof. We need everything to do with what the government says.
So I love experiencers because they're experiencers, and you get a lot of information from them. There's no difference between an experiencer in this instance and an eyewitness in a court case. It's the same thing. But why is the court case valid and someone who's experienced, I've been abducted by aliens, not valid? Now, the problem may lie in there are a lot of sympathetic individuals that want to be abducted and have heard all these stories and can actually recite verbatim and manipulate people, and they're not even telling the truth. So that's where I think the gray area lies in. But I think the most important data is someone who's been abducted and is aware of their being abducted. One of the greatest cases is with females, where the fact that they literally, there's certain keys when you've been pregnant, there's certain signs internally, and they've had these signs like, you did you lose your baby? And women had like they just had a stomach cramp. They didn't even know they were pregnant because they were being impregnated, and the fetus is gone. That, talk about mess with your skull.
It's a real phenomenon.
Yeah,
it's called
it's huge.
Missing fetus syndrome or something like that. I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it's a shame. That is a shame.
And that's real evidence. It's not only like some of these people actually remember the experience. They can't, those implanted images won't work. The psychology won't work. They remember it, and they're deathly afraid of it. So I mean, for them to discredit this, they're purposely not looking at what they need to look at, and they're throwing that out. No, we can't. We're only going to use this pencil and that piece of paper. Nope. Disregard the encyclopedia because that has no bearing on her case. It's messed up.
I will chime in though, just because I hear Grant Cameron's voice in the back of my head going, good versus evil. And yes, not every experience is pleasant. Yep. And yes, it's unlikely that every being out in the universe is all love and light. But when we fall back, and I say this time and time again, when we fall back on the statistics that citizens from our community have come up with, like Edgar Mitchell and his Free Foundation, or Ray Hernandez with CCRI and their survey and their statistics. When we are talking about this bad experience, we're talking about 8%. And this is over time and over an experiencer's lifetime. 92% of people report that their experiences may start off bad, or their abductions may begin bad, but they change and become enjoyable over time, and they don't want these experiences to stop. So that controversy right there of talking about the good versus evil, 8% versus 92%, are they really going to push the threat narrative with this evil alien narrative and combo it? It only speaks to this low percentage of what our community is actually saying. Or are they going to utilize the scary part of that and not talk about the 92% that report these good experiences or healing experiences or just the basic transformation of what it is?
Can I ask you a question, Nicole?
Shock. Yeah, go ahead.
This is I always wanted to ask. I wanted to talk to Grant, but I didn't get the chance yet. I did a show last weekend where we talked about the abduction phenomena, and we kind of briefly went over the characteristics of an abduction. And the process even you mentioned that they normally start off terrible and then they turn out to be positive. That actually reminds me almost, and I mentioned this by bringing up a few examples of abductions and talking about the experience. It's a 1-to-1 to Stockholm syndrome. It's like whenever your abuser takes you from your environment, they abuse you, they keep you there, they tell you they love you, and then you learn to love your abuser. But then sometimes if you survive the abuse, they drop you off and leave you with no explanation of what happened to you. And that's exactly a 1-to-1 with the abduction phenomena, because 9 times out of 10, and I don't have the data on this, but everybody I've ever talked to except for Dolly in the chat, how you doing, isn't as conscious as Dolly is. And so when talking about these experiences that are negative and then turn out good, we're looking at something that's akin to a religious experience, like that's akin to the Stockholm syndrome. I'm just curious as what you think about that.
I could see where that might be the case in some instances. I've talked with plenty of people where their scenario never does evolve. And it's actually very few and far between where I meet people that are still truly terrified by what they're going through. I will speak up on behalf of people like Dolly and even myself, though. I am a lifelong experiencer, and I've never had these terrifying table experiences or what I would consider an abduction. So should I let those that have had those experiences, dominate this conversation or this topic and speak for people out there like me and Dolly that, think there's more beyond maybe a confusing situation that you can't comprehend, at that time, but through reflection you can. And there are a lot of children that never think this is terrifying. They grow up with it and they think it's normal. And it's only when they start questioning it that people are telling them what it is and that it's bad. So there's lots of angles to go with this. And this is why I love talking with experiencers and collecting this data, because I think it speaks to pockets of psychology that we have yet to explore.
So,
Go ahead.
the what takes place here with someone who's constantly being abducted for whatever reason through generational line, they love taking them from birth when they're very, very young, because kids don't know anything better and they're more open to it. The problem is there's when adults or teens, young adults and adults are getting abducted, they don't react well to it. And what happens is over time, some of them they will test them to see how their psyche is reacting to the experience. And a lot of them finally realize, they open up, they're learning more information, and they're more like, okay, I'm let's work here. Some of them can't get past it. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. They're scared out of their minds. It could be a religious based thing where the Bible says no, and this is a demon. That's the big thing right now. Everything that's not, Jesus or God is a demonic thing. And when you're brought up in that rigidness, it's hard to jump out of that or being more open to it. So, I mean, I know, I've got missing time. I don't really have any problem with me, but they're taking my kids. That's where my problem is. And that's where you also get into little issues, but there may be some importance to that. Maybe there's something we don't know. Why are they taking these children? Maybe they're being taught you need to take better care of X, or do this, or do what, or opening up their minds to some future that we just talked about briefly.
Well, that opens the door to, that segue of the conversation. This also opens the door into pre-life contracts. There's lots of things. I think the point I was wanting to make is that this threat narrative and that abductions are bad or ET are people eaters or something, it still is statistically smaller than what the other side is saying, whether we call them love and lighters or UFO hippies or what have you. But
I like that.
Well, the other part of it too is when you take the experiencer and the information that they have, we don't know what they've been downloaded. We don't know the shapes that have been brought into their heads for no reason. The binary codes that happened at Rendlesham, when people touch the craft. I mean, there's so many things that an experiencer can offer the science part of this. It's amazing they don't want to work together, or that the scientists don't want any part of what's going on. I mean, Grant Cameron, who we all know and love, is the master of finding these stories, along with Preston Dennett, the masters of finding these stories of people who have had amazing connections, these real live downloads of information that they would normally never have, and everything that goes along with it. If I'm a scientist like Gary Nolan, I'm wanting to know what this is about. I'm wanting to know, how do we move this forward? Why are so many people who've never even heard of binary code, or maybe don't even know what it is, getting these numbers of zeros and ones in their heads that are adding up to some very, very intriguing insights? I mean, I find it amazing.
You
What
got to
about-
understand something here, okay? So we're talking about races of beings that see. They don't see like us. We have a timeline, which is Earth. It's an Earth construct. The reality of what is made up of this universe, this galaxy, everything exists at the same time, past, present, and future. And if you're privy to that, then when you're abducting person A and you're giving them a download, you're doing that because you can see every move this person's supposed to make and where they're supposed to be. And you can give them the code for element 113 or 115. Then you can give this other guy a code that will figure out,
I mean, that
369.
That sounds nice. That sounds nice, but that's not. So what's actually happened, and this is, again, I hear you and Nicole when it comes to the idea that there could be, just like the government's doing this social engineering program, there could be this mass greater manipulation of, or directed consciousness of humanity towards some end goal that is in our benefit.
Right.
But PTSD is a common consequence of coming into contact with these beings with abduction. That's not when you look at all ancient texts that mention contact with non-human entities, they have a positive or negative experience. When they meet an angel or a whatever being, a deity, they say, oh, I was transformed and I became enlightened and I loved it. And when you talk about the abduction phenomena, especially when encountering these beings, even Whitley Strieber says to this day that when he encounters them, he's terrified. Absolutely. He has PTSD and is terrified by the beings.
Oh.
So it's not like they're like, if there is an end game that is in our benefit, I don't see that playing out. We're destroying ourselves. There's more conflict in the world than there ever has been. And it's not getting any better. It's getting worse.
Yeah, I don't think, this is not a kumbaya moment for abductions. There are a lot more people that can't handle it. But what I've found is I've had people that were like strictly, I don't believe in that, like love and light and vibration, blah blah blah, and then they have a certain life-changing events actually can be manipulated. Now you were pretty much saying, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, that they're doing this for humanity. I don't believe they're doing it for humanity. I believe that they're doing it because they need certain results to come out, because they need something from it.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I'm not sure what that means. Yeah.
And then when you're doing something and whatever the end result is, there's no gray with the grays or aliens. It's black and white. It's 1 + 1 is 2. That is it. The problem with extraterrestrials, aliens, interdimensionals, there's no emotion involved in it. I need X, and that's what it is.
Yeah, but
And
they like to implant the positive. I think there's a problem when they try to implant that positivity into our mind. You can't, if you do something that is for your own benefit, and you clearly have a lack of emotional empathy for us, which has been said by many, and then but you have to implant, this positive message of love and light into the experience, why do that? If you're here for that purpose, then do your purpose. Let us know who you are. There's a deception aspect to this encounter, these encounters as well.
Go back decades ago and start reading these reports when people, those few experiences were coming out, and they were being taught, they were, the questions you were asked when you were abducted, what is love? They didn't understand the concept of love or feeling or touch. They had no clue about it. All these abductees have been asked the same questions. They want to know about love. They wanted to know about touching. Why do you touch? That's a computer doing it. So it's then if they try to take it and try to implant a memory, it's kind of like, do you want sugar or do you want artificial sweetener?
On that note, we're going to get you guys to hold on while we return for the final half hour. Spaced Out Radio's Roundtable tonight. When we return, it's conference season. My God, how do you choose a conference to go to? Especially if you don't like the speakers. We return on Spaced Out Radio right after this.
Whoa.
Sorry, I hope I'm not seeing anything contentious. I'm just, I worry. I genuinely worry about this cult-like, and it is. I got to be honest. There's a cult-like, effect on us, on a specific portion of the population. They're looking at these things like angels, like there are futuristic interdimensional guides.
Yep.
That is literally the domain of cults, and I don't want to ascribe that to people, but that's what it looks like. And that's my concern. My concern is that that's what's happening, and why are they doing it? What is the purpose of influencing us into a cult-like perspective of themselves, their presence here?
It's like physical pareidolia. They need something that's positive to come out of it. Otherwise, it would really scare the crap out of them.
The fear of it being cult-like, though, has been around since the earliest contactees. And I think Valet and Hal Puthoff really started sounding the trumpets on this in the 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
That was also at the time we were seeing the rise of Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard.
Right.
And then you get into a more modern version of UFO-based cult that's 100% a cult.
Venus
all these people.
It's
Heaven's Gate. I mean, not that I don't think people will do that, but it does concern me because, what I wonder. I got to be careful because I'm not sure how I.
Well, I'll say my cult is the current cult is the cult of Greer.
Oh my gosh! Don't even.
How it's talked about, though.
I'm not kidding though, but there are people that will. Yeah. They buy into everything he says. I've had people defend him, got offended. I mean, it was just out of control. I'm like, this is a cult mentality.
There's a theme of like a messiah complex in this community that some experiencers, I say, develop into. Greer didn't start out as Greer, but he is what he is today.
Yep.
And I think we see these contactees kind of emerge with every time. Adamski was kind of one of these guys. L. Ron Hubbard was. We're seeing it a little bit with Bledsoe right now, with Greer. People say John Burroughs. So
it gets worse when these people are not in the spotlight. Like Greer has not been significant in such a long time, and he's trying really hard again.
Experiencers get what they call a mission, and it does kind of make them hyper focused to completing this mission or getting the message, that they're supposed to put forth out there. So
what's the message? I mean,
that's usually
$4.99 with Greer.
It's something that simple. Love, the oneness message. Like there's all sorts of messages.
Save the planet.
We're not listening. We're not listening. Look around. Look around.
I mean, I know Grant has been talking with Gary Nolan about I don't want to say paranormal downloads that he gets, but it's more of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah. I've heard it.
inspirational thoughts that he gets,
Yeah,
and
he
what
mentioned.
people do with it. Or people like Mr. Taylor. I won't say which one, so I won't say a first name. You know, after they meditate and they get these brilliant engineering ideas, and then they can
Right.
apply them,
Well,
where
that's a phenomenon that's a phenomenon that's been talked about forever, but it's
right,
been validated by Gary Nolan. That's actually a good point, Nicole. Gary Nolan does talk about the idea that there's some kind of a conscious transfer, information transfer between
right.
us and something else during
It's like
these states, these meditative states.
our
Well,
DNA is like a receptor to the ether, to the collective consciousness.
when
Yeah,
So
when
and
when you go through a process, right, whether it's a meditative state, which is a little bit more calming, or a life-changing state where you're getting close to a near-death experience, or as Grant likes to do, a DMT state.
oh
um,
my,
no,
yeah.
no, it's actually
it is
very important.
psilocybin.
Well, I mean,
It's
was
it's important, but I'm telling you, like I have my own beliefs, abilities, or whatever it was, and then it literally blew me out of the water. March 2nd, I had a massive heart attack,
oh man,
and from that point forward, you want to talk about downloads? There's crazy stuff happening right now, and everybody's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm getting some stuff." And then you start thinking, like, "Okay, am I
All
losing
right,
my
guys,
mind?"
I gotta cut it off. We're about to come back here.
Sure.
We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. We very much appreciate earning the listening ears of all of you out there in Radio Land. Reminder to all of you, if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We're getting into this area now of the year where the sun is shining, the grass is turning green, the flowers are out, the trees are budding, which means, in our language, it is conference season. Bigfoot conferences, UFO conferences, consciousness conferences, paranormal conferences, conferences about this, conferences about that. And here we are wondering, should we actually attend a conference? Yeah, conference season is among us. And you know what? There's a lot of good information that can be pushed forward, and there's a lot that isn't so good. Nicole, we'll start with you on this one because I know you like a good conference. You like hanging on out, meeting the other people involved, but there are some nightmares that kind of happen at these things as well if they've never went.
Honestly, I've never had a bad time at any UFO gathering, whether it's been a large conference or a small lecture or speaking or non-speaking. And truly, I don't know anybody who goes to a conference and loves every single speaker or presenter. So get over that kind of aspect, but go see who you want to see, participate in the extracurricular activities that you want to, but it's about connecting with the other people. It's about meeting the other experiencers and sharing the stories and connecting with the community. Like, that's why I like conferences. It's never that, one conference is going to have all the answers or the keys to the kingdom.
True that. True
Yeah.
that. But I think you nailed something on the head really good there. You're not going to blend with all the speakers. You know, so
No.
if you think you listen to a bunch of podcasts out there or radio shows or YouTube channels, and you're sitting out there and you're like, gee whiz, this guy sounds really great. Then you go and listen to him speak on stage, and you're like, huh? That was the message all along? Didn't like it? You got to expect that. You really
Right.
do. Brian, you've been to a bunch of conferences.
Oh yeah, I just came back from a Bigfoot, the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference, and let me tell you, I love conferences. I love presenting at conferences, and I also love going them as a spectator. Besides, tons of good vendors, and you may find things that you've missed, but you get to meet like-minded people for the most part, and you get to make some connections. And if you're lucky, like I did, you get to see David Pallades and Dr. Jeff Meldrum almost go to blows. It was just, I mean, I literally thought those two were going to go at it. And Meldrum has definitely got the height and weight advantage. So I was going to go with the doc, but yeah, it's just the one thing I would say about conferences that are really bad is some of these presenters have really bad attitudes and egos, and they don't care that you're a fan of them. They will let you know straight up, kind of like Billy Bob Thornton in Bad Santa when he's eating his lunch. I mean, I've seen yeah, Pallades do some stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's not pretty, and it's real nasty. But then again, here's something that's very interesting. Pallades was there, and he's presenting. He had a visit from someone from the State Department. I mean, the Department of Defense was there. So if you think you're going to be at a conference and it's just going to be like-minded people, you have no idea who's also at that conference.
See,
I wish I could be there.
You brought up something that I really, really think hits home. Is a lot of people will go to conferences and they'll be like, hey, I want to meet Richard Dolan, or I want to meet Grant Cameron, or I want to meet Steve Bassett, or whoever it may be, whoever's speaking there. And the only time you see that person the entire weekend walking around the hotel is when they are on stage.
Yep.
Otherwise, you can't find them. You can't see them. They're not mingling with many other hosts. And I'm not saying it's everybody. There's the odd one or two that'll do that, because I've been to conferences where that's happened, where I've wanted to speak to certain people. And I think that's a little bit of it doesn't happen often, but I think it's a little bit of a ripoff that you go and you spend your money. You want to have a conversation with this person, and you can't because you can't find them. I think when I go to a conference, I try and put the onus on the fact that I try and be around, because I know there's going to be people wanting to speak with me, and people like Melinda Leslie or Grant or Lorian Fenton or Misha Johnson, the majority are going to be right there wanting to sit down and have a coffee with you. Yeah, it's one of the best experiences.
There's different things that take place at this specific one. The four celebrities that were there that were speaking, it was Pallades, Meldrum, Ron Moorhead, and I forgot his name from Finding Bigfoot, Ronnie LeBlanc. They had these tents right next to each other, and you could get a moment that they would be very nice to you when you go there, because they want you to buy their DVD or their book, and they're more than happy to take a picture with you. But that's the moment you can have a discussion with them for about 2 minutes to get it in. Other than that, the hotel I stayed in, Meldrum was there the whole time, had breakfast with him right next to him. I could have talked to him, but he's a down-to-earth real person. But the other guys, they don't want to have anything to do with it. They're fans or the people that want to talk to
I would say maybe the smaller events, the better. I mean, obviously, if you're going to something like Contact in the Desert and there's 50 speakers over X amount of days, and it's all this pomp and, circumstance around the entire event, then yeah, people are going to be harder to access. But I don't know. I've also never, I started going to events like this so I could get the chance to talk to people. And I've never just been like flat out shut down before when I've gone. It's more like you take your moment and you find your opportunity to talk to somebody. So it may not happen every time, but at least you're there,
And if you're lucky, you'll get somebody like, that'll walk around actually at contact of the desert. Usually the rookies that come in that are like the new ones that are coming in, they're like, oh, and they start, it happens with anybody that's in that mode. They'll start mingling with everybody. But after a while, if you're going conference after conference and you're not really getting enough sleep, and it's, it gets on you and you don't really want to be bothered. If I'm not speaking, I'll be at the hotel room, just lying down.
Well, on the paranormal side of things, I've been to paranormal conferences where there have been the big name television stars hanging out there. The chance of you actually getting a conversation as a speaker, as a fellow speaker, to meet up with them and actually converse is slim to none.
Yep.
Slim to none. They have like bodyguards with them, and they have, do I know you? Oh, you're with that show. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's chat later. It's always hey, I'm busy right now. Let's chat later. The paranormal, I would say, is probably the hardest one to actually speak to people. Ufology, very easy to talk with people. Marquise, what do you think?
I am jealous that every one of you has been to a conference but me. Some of the audience has been to a conference, but I never have. This is my first year being a part of this entire, thing. So I look forward to next year being able to join everyone at one of the conferences. Hopefully not on the other side of the country, but this year I cannot make it due to some pretty interesting circumstances.
Dave, do you have bodyguards for Spaced Out Radio fan?
I hope if I go, I hope so, because let me tell you something. My views don't always align with the community, and I'm a little dude. I'm big enough to pick up and throw. So
there's
I got you, Marquise. Don't worry about it.
And there's people that actually, in this community, there are people that will agree with you and they won't agree with you. I have people that love what I say, and I got a lot of people that hate what I say. It's just part of life.
It is.
But Dave Scott, he knows how to throw down the gloves and check in the board. So I'd be very careful approaching the captain.
I've been to a ton of conferences and shows and stuff like NAB, CES, whatever. I've spoken at some of them. I've had other people that I've been with who speak, and the secret seems to be get a media pass because you can get behind the scenes. So I try not to go to any show where I don't have a media pass, and I have a professional photographer friend. So if I can't get in with my regular sources, then I'll shotgun his passes, and then I can go wherever I want. And then security at least won't stop you. Then you're on your own, at least to interface. But as the saying goes, don't meet your heroes.
Yeah,
don't meet your heroes.
That should be really deflating. Very deflating.
I feel like if I met my heroes.
The hardest person I ever had to track down was Barbara Lamb. And I don't know if you guys know her, but she's quite elderly in our community now. And she walks with double canes. And I swear this old lady was the fastest freaking old lady on the planet. Like every time I would turn around, I would see her and I'd be like, all right, I can go talk to Barbara. I would turn around and like a nanosecond later, she was just gone. And so I had to stalk her for an entire weekend. And honestly, I felt so terrible. I ended up ambushing her during her dinner. But she was really nice, and she spoke with me for about 5 minutes, and I'm still grateful for the opportunity to speak with her. So thanks, Barbara.
If you really want to meet somebody at a conference and you're a real fan and you really want to have a conversation with them, not like, oh, I love your work or what, you want to talk to them about a theory or whatever. The best way to do it is get the VIP pass. So you're at that pre dinner or that party.
Speakers, and it was still.
And then everybody will chat to everybody there. But once it's showtime, some of these people take it way too seriously, and they're like, I've had people, come up to me while I'm packing up or I'm going to another booth or whatever, Pine Bush event, and they start asking me questions. It gets crazy when they want to talk theory and then start pulling out formulas. And I'm like, look, I can't do formulas right now.
I love it.
Yeah. But I've got to get over to this point. But it depends on the person who's, if you're approachable or not. That's it. Some people have too many
Okay.
egos.
Very
Right.
true. And when we developed the SOR fan party, and Nicole played a big part of that going into year one, and unfortunately she can't make year two here because I've got school to do and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I know you're sad about it though. I know you're actually sad about it. But the one thing that we wanted to design was to kind of do the anti-conference. We wanted to do something for our fans, and that is have our fans hang out with the people that they get to see on this show on a weekly or monthly or bi-monthly basis. And I think that's very important for us to be able to bring that to our second annual fan party, which will be at the Golden Nugget in Las Vegas, May 19th through 21st. And that's what we want to do, is try and build that bridge between these awesome researchers who are taking their time out to speak to us on a nightly basis and share them with the fans, because there's a lot of people out there who would love to buy a book or get an autograph or even a photo with anybody who's there. And Nicole, we saw that firsthand last year. I mean, it was an absolute blast. You go into a restaurant and there's Science Bob and Tom Whitmore and Katie Page having breakfast or lunch or dinner with fans of yours, and all they're doing is talking UFOs. It was one of the greatest things I've seen. You know what I'm saying?
I have a question for you.
That we set it up to be more like a meet and greet, truly, instead of just a conference or just a lecture where you just hear people speak. So yeah, it was nice getting to know everybody and the interaction and the spying and the lurking.
I have a question for you, Dave.
Sure, random guy.
Do you remember when you snuck off and met up with me a little bit?
Yes.
And then you brought me to one of the tables. Did anybody ever connect the dots on that yet?
No.
That was at that table?
No. You weren't there long. You weren't there
No,
long.
I came at the end, and I remember I solved the Sukhoi fighter dilemma while I was there. Anyways,
Yes.
I was wondering if anybody had privately been like, hey, is that the same guy?
Nobody. So random guy, that's how we met last year.
That was the first time. Yeah.
Through a mutual friend, and he just shows up and starts being random guy. And right off the bat, and we met because of our fan party. But the importance of that is the fact that now you play, random guy, a pretty big role on Spaced Out Radio over the last few months. And yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You don't have to admit it, but you do. Okay. It's very important. And, there's going to be fans out there who want to come up to you and, shake your hand, say hello, grab a photo, and,
punch me in the face.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, good luck with that. You're like 6'5".
I'm wearing my vest. I'm wearing my vest at a party.
Don't forget your leather mask too. We'll bring that for you. But just the whole purpose, though, of we don't want those people who are going to be coming in for their little hit on our 6-hour YouTube show that we're going to do and then disappearing right after. You don't see them again for the rest of the weekend. That's not what it's about. We want our listeners to be able to go have lunch or breakfast with someone on the team or one of our special guests. That's what makes it fun. Totally makes it fun.
I think the third one should be a cruise.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, getting me on the boat.
I'm wearing a
life
life
jacket
the whole time.
Get you on a boat.
You're small enough I could swim with you on my back, Marcus.
You could. It's true, man.
Down in Florida, stay with me, and then we'll hop over to Fort Lauderdale, get you on a boat, and we'll go to the islands.
Don't.
You know what's in the water? Sharks. Sharks are in the water.
Well, it's like
I
a
grew up in
hotel
the
on the
ocean,
water.
man.
It's fine. You'd love it.
Not worried about it.
I think
Scuba dive.
needs
It'll
to
take
be
you 2 hours to get there.
Spaced Out Radio in space. We need to
Yeah.
have an in-orbit party.
Someone get me Elon Musk.
Take us all to orbit, Elon.
Yes.
Yep. No, not
I
ever
just,
doing cruise.
I just remember that story, and Dave's like, whatever you do, don't tell anybody who you are. You're in the wrong place for that. That was hilarious. Good times.
And it's going to be fun again. We got about 2 minutes to go here before we go. And the one thing that I would say to anybody, go to a conference and go to enjoy what people are saying. But, don't take their word verbatim. Listen to a number of speakers and blend the information together. There's a big, there's a giant Bigfoot conference that's happening in British Columbia. It's been going all over social media. I've had about 35 people ask me, are you going? Are you going? Are you going? No, I'm not going. Why aren't you going? Well, I don't like a couple of speakers, so I'm not going to go. They only got like 5 speakers, and 2 of them I really don't agree with. So I'm not going to be going. But I said, if you're going to go, enjoy yourself, have some fun, and take little pieces of information that suit your fancy or what you believe, because it is a good time overall. It really is, and there's conferences out there that are going to run hundreds of dollars for a weekend, and there's conferences out there that you could get away for under $100, and that's just the way it is. And if you can afford it, go for it.
Yep.
You're not wasting your time.
I'll add in, do all the virtual online ones that you can make time and afford. They're pretty cheap, and it's the same kind of deal. If you don't like everybody, don't listen to them. But I've enjoyed that. I know we got used to it through COVID, but it's here to stay. I like the virtual side of things.
As long as they don't use Zoom.
Yeah.
I did one where you got an avatar and everybody got like this little character to run around with, and that was fun because you could dance and like ride the speedboat and like visit different buildings and harass
Sure that
people.
wasn't Minecraft?
No, computer.
Building
Fortnite.
houses with bricks.
That's Fortnite.
It was good. Yeah. There's high debates.
Building houses.
Well, it is that time of the night where we're going to start wrapping things up, and it's hard to believe that another month is gone in 2023. And you know what? I'm going to say this. It was a fun panel tonight, and it was a great panel. Thank you so much, Random Guy, for keeping the humor going. Thank you, Nicole Sakich, for making things happen. Thank you to our good friend. Well, there's Nicole. And thank you to our good friend from After Hours, Marquise, and Brian, the bad man Bowden, with 1,868 podcasts. Broadcasts all throughout the day. Big thank you as well to our good friend, Thomas Fessler, who could only make it for the first 2 hours tonight, but we really do appreciate it. Another great panel, another month down the road, and now it's time to look forward to May and our fan party in Las Vegas very, very soon. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night.
Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night.
Woohoo!
Yeah, there we
Aw-
go.
That was awesome. Yeah. Fantastic.
I got to do a computer scan here because my computer has been slow all night. That's probably what's causing the blurriness. Like it's been lagging all night long.
Do you need to just clean your thing?
I don't know. I don't usually download much on here.
No, I mean, you need to like wipe your camera lens like that.
I've done
Yeah.
I've done that. Yeah, on my camera, on like watching you guys up here on my TV, you're all blurry.
Oh, you're fine. We see you as perfectly clear.
Not a clean signal going through. So it's either my internet or my computer that's causing it.
You look clear to me, man. I mean, like perfectly clear to me. I don't see
Yeah,
any,
here on StreamYard I do,
but not to you
but
yourself.
if you're translating it over to YouTube, so like for instance,
Oh, I see. Live.
screen right there,
Yeah.
it's blurry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see.
So trying to figure that out.
Nicole, I don't think it adjusts for that. These cameras aren't that smart. They don't have the optical, motion sensor.
Nicole is the one who is allowed to say we own the night. On the
I
air.
am.
Nice teddy bears.
Mm-hmm.
I like
That
these
makes-
guys. Like he looks all sweet.
Wow. What the freak? No way. That's creepy, man. No. No.
This guy's name is Junkyard Jeff. He's ferocious.
Good
What's
times.
going on in YouTube land tonight? How's the chat room?
Enzo's in the chat room.
What? Enzo, I see him. He's there right now. Enzo. I bet he's in a Hawaiian shirt. Just saying.
Guaranteed. We know his hair is going to be absolutely perfect.
Always is.
Yeah. Lots of truth there. Random Gee, are you looking forward to Vegas in 3 weeks?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I need to hit the gym harder before you guys get here, or what the deal is. Like,
You need to
Need
hit
to be
the
able to-
top harder to make me not look as bad.
I need to be able to fit into my evening gown.
What the
Hey, look who's here.
evening now? Oh my god.
It's 31 himself.
Where'd he go?
I don't know.
Almost.
I'm trying to add him here. I don't know. See, this is like right now, like my computer will not let him in.
I'll try to do it now if you you did it. There you go.
There he is.
Filthy.
Filth.
You dirty filthy.
Von Joyski.
Von Doinski.
Dirty filth. Where's Blobbert? Filth,
He's
you don't know
muted.
this, so you could turn your microphone on, right?
Filthy. Jackson Cokes and smokes. Turn on your mic.
Is he from Saskatchewan or whatever?
There he is.
He's in Ed.
No, I'm not from Saskatchewan. I have more than 2 mountains and 1 hill.
Are you packed yet, Filth? You ready to go? You got all the art packed up?
No, I don't. Everything's last minute as per usual.
Are
Ready
you
to
gonna
go with the
fly
very
with
last
it,
moment.
or- Are you flying with it, or are you going to send it to the Nugget?
I've got a broker actually.
Oh, nice.
Yes. I've
can always
upgraded
ship
since the
stuff.
last time I swindled myself into Vegas.
You guys can always ship stuff to my townhouse I have if you need to.
I don't know if you want a cartoon. I could probably send you one.
Or
Or
just
you
get
come
one
to
from you in
Vegas,
Vegas. I'm in
I-
Vegas
$100
right now.
cash, man.
I didn't
I'm at
know
my
if you were
townhouse
trying
right
to
now.
fly with like 80 pounds of artwork.
Wow.
I was
Wow.
trying to get one of those like Looney Tunes Bugs Bunny things you can just throw to the ground. It becomes a impossible
portal?
hole and you can just
Acme.
throw whatever.
That's the jump room tech right there. Warner
Need a
Brothers
portal.
out it. Portal tech.
Everyone laughs at Bugs Bunny, but it's probably time traveler.
He's probably a time traveler.
I got tattooed to my arm, so I know about Bugs Bunny.
That's hilarious.
Left turn it out.
One of the hardest things to animate as well is Bugs Bunny, by the way.
Where do you end up if you take a left turn at Albuquerque? That's the question.
Definitely.
Is it Los Alamos?
Arizona.
Hey, Marquise, get to bed.
Good night,
Go
everybody.
to bed.
Bye, Mark.
I'm a dude.
See you.
Sorry, it's 3-something in the morning. Bye.
Yeah.
Those are rookie numbers. Got to pump those up.
Yeah,
All right,
well,
Mr. Bowden.
I've got
Brian decided to
Not dirty.
this excuse to get out of Vegas by having this false flag heart attack.
Dude, it wasn't a false flag heart attack. It was like,
False flag heart attack, you dirty bastard.
There's
I'll
Bob.
tell you what. It was the Widowmaker, and everybody looked at me and go, you look really good for, like they were just impressed that like you don't look like you had one. And I'm like, okay, is that a good thing? But worse is they did it in front of my 11-year-old daughter and my 15-year-old daughter. I felt terrible. So my youngest got a great, I'm sorry, Daddy had a heart attack in front of you gift, and I got her electric scooter that goes 25 miles an hour. So she's like, it's okay, Dad. She's gone.
We can
I
hook it
have
up if
one of
all else
those. I
fails.
love it.
They're awesome, actually. They're pretty
They
cool.
are.
But yeah, I
You're
gotta
going
give.
to Vegas quick though, you dirty bastard.
Nicole should know all about heart attacks now. She's covered her cardiac unit.
Oh,
I can administer CPR. So can you.
I was trained lifeguard wise, first aid CPR, whatever, and I'm just doing everything in my power to focus on a spot. So I don't want to like lie out and just like pass out from it, because that's how you die. You got to actually be awake for these things. And there I am on the gurney, and this is the things. They move me from the gurney from the ambulance onto the regular gurney, and by this time, my wife is probably on the way here to the hospital. And as soon as they put you on there, there's 3 nurses were pulling my pants off at once, and all I could think of is, for Christ's sake, I can't even enjoy this.
Magazine.
I can't even enjoy this.
I've had that dream many times.
Yeah, but the heart attack problem was the problem. There was the pressure there. And then after that, I feel 2 people kind of massaging my groin because they were shaving it. I'm like, really? I can't even enjoy this either. And that was it. Then they went in, they put some Chinese fence in and came out. On the cool side is I had a right branch problem, and the doctor that did the surgery was telling my wife as they pulled me out on the gurney, he said, I've heard about this, but this is the first time I've seen it. My right branch grew its own bypass.
Wow.
How about that? And without missing a beat, you're going to love this, guys.
Aliens did it.
I said, must be the alien implants.
I knew it.
Doctor looked at me like, what is he on? And my wife started cracking up. No, that's Brian. He investigates UFOs and the paranormal. Yep. Oh, cool doggy. Trying to get one. I want one.
Not as old as
There's a painting cat right now in Fylth. Painting cat.
Bob. Get him.
And Buster.
Yeah, I'm still trying. I got to go to the doctor, and if he gives me the thumbs up, I'm there. So I still have the room. I'm waiting until the last last minute. I want to get there. I hate
Bacon
Vegas, but I want to get there.
He'll tell you those aren't pillows.
Exactly. How was that game last night? Those were great. You think this car is safer for highway travel? Yeah, yes, I do. Surprisingly, the radio still works. Yeah, but where's the one after this one? Have you decided yet, Orlando? Have you decided anything about it?
Vegas again.
Vegas,
Orlando. Go center.
You should come to Vegas. It's going to be a blast.
Be right back.
Fun. Nothing but fun.
Nicole has to poop again.
Yep.
I'm going to say that every time she leaves.
And I really appreciate everybody that sent their prayers and support to me. So I see it in the chat, and Derek, I appreciate it a lot. I got messages from a lot of people, and I just appreciate it. You got to do it early. If you get a pain, don't ignore it. Call the ambulance. They'll hook you up. Get taken care of.
Yeah, and then it's a good way to get out of Vegas, that's for sure.
Dude, you have no. Do you understand how I was livid because of purchasing this home down here in Florida, and my wife, I just couldn't do it, and I was trying everything I could to get to the first one, everything. I spent the whole day watching the whole thing. It was fun, but yep, I'm still with you. I'm sure my wife's not happy about that sometimes.
We still love you.
I love everybody. I mean, I do appreciate it. Prayers work.
Or maybe aliens work.
Very well could be aliens.
Now, you still haven't admitted to us what happened earlier today.
I don't remember telling you anything, Dave. I don't remember telling you anything happened today. Did something happen that I told you about?
No, I don't know what happened. I'm asking you a question after your girlfriend said something happened.
No, it's not a big deal. Every time I tell you something, it sounds bad, but it's not. It's really not. So we were talking earlier about, are we going to do the show tonight? And then I'm like, yeah. And we don't go to bed till like 4 or 5 in the morning anyways. So I was like, I got to get a nap. And I was like, all right. So I told her, I was like, go take a nap. I wasn't taking a nap. I was just going about my day. So I'm sitting there on my couch, and I was literally texting, and I don't know what the hell happened. I passed out, which I never pass out. And I woke up 90 minutes later with my phone still in position with the text open like I was typing. And I wasn't drinking, no drugs, like nothing. And I was like, that's weird. So I go to the bathroom, and my eyes were like purple bloodshot, like completely filled with blood. And my whole body hurt. And I was like, what the hell just happened? I was like, did I have a stroke? And then it just all started receding. I drank some water and I was fine, but it was weird. Super weird. So, of course, you know what Nicole said.
I didn't say anything. What's the next one?
Liar.
You said it.
Liar.
You said it.
Did the back of your neck hurt?
My whole head from everything hurt, like pounding. And you could see it, my eyes were red, like bright red. Huh?
Did you feel rested from your spontaneous nap?
No, it felt like I was running sprints the whole time I was asleep.
Shall we say it together? A random guy. You got aliens.
F you, Dave. I will report back on this though. All those tones remember I was getting the doorbell and all that went away finally after like 4 or 5 days.
That's because they changed the alien implant in you.
Well, if they did it, they put it right here, because in my dream they took me on I remember they flipped me over on my stomach and they were doing something in my jaw, and I felt it here. And even when I woke up, I had psychosomatic effect where I was thinking of it even after I woke up. But clearly, when next time I get my dental x-rays, that'll prove that's BS. But
if you want to ask the panel any questions, please put them in capital letters so that way we can see them. or at least I can see them so I can read them out. And yes, by the way, just so you newbies know, I see almost everything in the chat room.
Yes.
Except I need capital letters for a question because I have troubles reading the small print.
The small print is,
Shit
yeah.
hawk.
Look, look, it could be worse with the abduction thing. Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
used to joke. I used to joke about, because I'm the skeptic here. So I would always joke. I'm like, I wish I would get abducted so I could figure out and know if this was true. And then
Twice now.
literally like 2 months into doing the show, I have this vivid dream about being abducted. I'm like, I don't want to be abducted anymore. If it's anything like that, I don't want any part of it.
So I get crap from my wife all the time, but you see, whatever about aliens and abductions, and I had a nosebleed, and I don't normally get I really don't get nosebleeds. So started bleeding. So my wife goes, "Oh, maybe it was the aliens." I said, "Don't joke around the aliens. Don't. They'll come after you." Oh, you people, you believe in all that crazy stuff. Woke up that morning, blood everywhere. I said, "Told you, don't fuck with the aliens."
Your wife did, or you did again?
My wife did. My wife did.
Nice. Or not
Yeah.
nice, but
No,
I
no,
give out that
apropos.
warning too. Be careful what you say, or be
Yeah.
careful what intentions you set or what you ask for.
Yeah.
Because
I'm down here in this new place. I go to sleep later than everybody, not this late, but and the last couple of weeks, there's like 3 windows, like this would go out to my backyard. I'm literally, I know it's happening. I know it's gonna there's gonna be an alien that pops its head up. That's what I've been. I shit you not. I feel like I'm totally being watched, and I'm waiting for it to pop its head up.
You're describing what I call experiencer symptoms. It's like when
No. I know it. I know exactly what it is. Yeah. I've been doing this for a long time, 40 plus years, and I only have 2 moments in my life that I remember missing time. Mm-hmm. The first one was 2015, and there was a Bigfoot expedition. We had a UFO, then we had a time-space rip. It was whatever. And then the other one was a year ago, last May, and myself, my wife, and my 2 kids got abducted in the car. Missing time 3 hours.
Wow.
So like I said before, I don't, hey, my wife is, she can handle herself. I can handle myself. I don't want you touching my kids. That's where I draw the line.
Filthy, I'm waiting for Dave to get back, and then you better prepare yourself because I'm going to call you out a little bit.
Oh,
sounds like a Vegas story.
On that note, yeah.
Did you want to hear about the time I seen the same ghost twice?
Sure.
Okay, we can do that one.
That's not what I was going to make you talk about, but sure, let's hear about your ghosts. Or go get Mrs. Fylth and let's hear the cutest lady Canadian accent I've ever heard in my life. Where's Mrs. Fylth?
She's preoccupied at this moment.
She's
passed
sleeping.
out.
She's sleeping. Aw.
Do you think I want to go through like 17 fingers of razors of cats to get to that thing? Nope, not happening. Except for Whiskey. Whiskey's the only cat in the house right now. She's right there. You can't see her, but she's there.
So let's hear the ghost story. Same ghost twice. Ready, go.
Are we waiting for Dave or are we? Okay,
No.
So the same ghost story. I think it might have been 15, 16 maybe-ish. Not sure. Not important. Nonetheless, slept over at my friend's house and I slept on his brother's bed. This is back in the yonder days. And there was 2 beds in the same room. And immediately to the left, there was the washroom. When you went outside the room, right to the left was the washroom. And I was sleeping in the far right bed. So when I woke up, and when everyone's sleeping at night and you wake up and you can see everything with that like ghostly sight that you have, everybody has it. You can't lie to yourself. When you wake up in the night, you can see everything and you're not stumbling over unless you got cats, you're screwed. But for the most part, people can see that visual purple that they have. So nonetheless, I thought I seen my pal wake up, sit up, and then walk towards the bedroom door and then hang the left and go to the washroom. And I thought to myself, okay, well, he's gone for piss. So stayed awake. He never came back. And then I ended up falling asleep. And in the morning, I asked him, hey, Frazier, like, what are you doing? Like, did you like fall asleep on the crapper or whatever? I tried to make a joke. He goes, no, I never went for a piss. It was probably the ghost. I don't know. Okay, whatever. He's joking with me. And we used to hang out and we played like Super Mario RPG and junk and whatnot and so forth. And hung out there again. This time we slept in his living room. And his parents it was an L-shaped couches were on the living room. He slept on one, I slept on the other. And this time the bathroom was facing like the couch he was on. Nonetheless, I watched what I thought was him get up again at nighttime and walk towards the washroom. And I thought to myself, oh, hey, he's going for a whiz. And then I immediately went, holy crap, that was the ghost. And then my brain just kind of spun really quick and I kind of thought nothing of it. And then in the morning when I woke up, I just kept talking to Fraser. I was like, hey, like, I think I seen that ghost again. He's like, yeah, like, old guy died in the basement. There's a ghost down there, whatever. And that's the time I seen the same ghost twice. And I know it was the same ghost because the shape and the like matter of it, like the fog, if you will, I can't explain it any better than that. It walked and it had that gaunt, that like it looked like it was walking at a normal speed, but because it had that misty like feel to it, it didn't look like it. The best way to explain it looked like it was walking normally, but it wasn't standing on earth. It was just doing its business, and that's the best way I can explain it. So I wouldn't say floating because it moved at a constant speed, but the way that the body, so to speak, like, because it was like arms and legs and a head, it looked like my friend standing, so it was like a full body apparition, I guess you could say, in your like nerd terms. That's how it was. It just walked to the bathroom and disappeared, went for piss, whatever it did. I don't know. That's just what I seen at that time. So yeah. Anyways,
that's a great story.
It's not. Yeah, it's a story, but that's what happened. So that's what happened with me, and
It would be my worst.
It's nothing
nightmare.
fancy. Like people are like, oh, I was in a war zone and I seen a ghost, or I was like Gettysburg or something.
I think.
Anyways,
I think you guys just have a good way. When Canadians tell ghost stories, there's just no way it could possibly be scary. Your accent is so welcoming. Like you could be like, sorry to inform you, random guy, but you're gonna die of cancer. And you say it with a Canadian accent, it doesn't sound that bad.
well, you might be dead of cancer, but I also scooped your wallet and drank your beer or whatever. But
you stupid horker.
Nonetheless,
what was that Rick Moranis movie?
Despite I couldn't tell you, I don't watch a lot of films, but despite that's what happened. That's what I seen. That's the story, and I'll tell it a million times. It's the same thing every time, and I'm not a big ghost guy, but that's what I seen, and I can't explain it. Like I said, I filmed the UFO and I'm more aliens and everything, but the ghost thing, I can't deny what I seen, and yeah, so yeah, there you go. There's the story.
It's like a bonus Swamp Dweller, except Ghost Edition.
Some ghosts haunt entire castles. This guy's regular.
Except I published a book in 2 calendars.
Fylth has ghost stories of ghosts pissing, and they always leave the toilet seat up.
Well, no. I don't know what the ghost did.
Toilet paper on the roll.
I'm not privy to say, like, it may have been a separate entity or whatever, but I mean, because one was in a
I'm just busting
bedroom
your
and one
balls.
was in a. I know. I know a lot of Italians and Irish people, so I know my balls are being busted. Anyways,
All my Italian friends call me the Mick.
Nick, have a good one,
Like,
guys.
yep.
Bye, Brian.
Nick.
Nice
That's
seeing
great.
you.
I was at my friend's wedding. He's like, his family's like connected mafia for real in New York. And it was a few years ago. I was in my late 20s. And I go to this wedding, and it's like, I'm dressed up in wedding attire. I'm there as a guest of the wedding. And Uncle Tony turns around, hands me $5 and said, "Hey, go get me a drink." My buddy who was getting married is like, "Dude, he's my friend. He doesn't work here." He's like, "What's with you and all your Mick?" It's like, I was like, "Oh, I always wanted to hear that in real life." It's like, I like it. Felt like I was straight in that Sopranos episode.
Well, Dirty Fylth after that story, as Lee says in the chat room, definitely has UAP, unidentified anonymous peeing.
Oh no.
That's funny.
The real
That's funny.
definition.
Yep. Yes, Derek Galloway. Dave's going to give you a big hug, man. Thank you, Maggie. That awesome super chat. Love you, dear. All the way from Australia.
Derek has, what does he have? He has an edema. Do you have pitting edema, Derek? When you push it in, does it stay in or does it rebound? We're going to solve this for him.
I think he's got gout.
No, it wouldn't do the swelling that he has. It would be localized to a digit.
Is this SOR Med Clinic? What's going on?
You want me to teach another EMT class for you?
Yes. Filthy, are you still there? Or did you run away?
I'm still here.
I want to ask you, now that it's been almost a year since Spaced Out Radio, Vegas 2022, and collectively, that was like the first time you were around a bunch of experiencers, if I'm remembering right?
Correct.
And not to like out you or anything, but after Spaced Out Radio last year, you did have a little bit of high strangeness. You had some strange dreams that went on for about a month after we were all together there. I say we ended up calling our pack of everybody that hung out and met, like the Soul Family, Spaced Out Radio Soul Family. But I know we tease Random Guy a lot that he's got aliens and he's having strange dreams, but just to lend support, how long did yours last? Like a month or two, or did they ever start coming back? And because you never thought that they were aliens either, or that you were experiencing a UFO or anything like that. So I was just wondering if you had anything to relate.
Well, when I go to sleep, I'm fairly confident that I just enter another sort of existence. And I'm fairly sure that it may have been influenced by my experiences when you meet other people and their energies and everything else like that. I'm not a very well-spoken person, but the point is, strange things have happened since, previous and before and after. So yes, I'm.
Are you part of the club now? Are you openly admitting that you're a card holding experiencer club member? Or are you still hanging out in like Random Guy's khaki pant dream club?
You mean kahaki pants?
Kahaki. You're right.
Nicole
Kahaki.
really wants a pair of khaki pants. I can already tell. You're
I
jealous.
have
Stop
khaki
hating.
pants. I have so many khaki pants that you know how there was like the mass bra burnings with like the rise of feminism.
Oh yeah, I was there for that.
When I learned about Wu, I just started randomly burning khaki pants.
Hmm.
Right, Dave?
The way it happens.
Yep.
Well, yes, I had an interesting experience, and I had some of that hoodoo voodoo weirdness when someone regresses you and you talk through that kind of stuff, and I've had that experience. So yes, you're correct on that. And
I'm RGO. Hey,
I'll
Enzo
tell you
says
what,
khaki pants don't make you a bad person.
You can work at Target or Best Buy if you have khaki pants.
no, Enzo is the rest of his sentence is they don't make you a bad person if you wear a Hawaiian shirt with your khaki pants.
Ah,
Yeah.
Thank
well,
you,
the point
Tim.
is, yeah, I guess everything's weird. So I've had weird experiences, but then again, I drink pickle juice before I eat all the pickles. So
That's not
everything
weird.
was fine in my life until Nicole. Up until I met her, now everything has just been chaos
I
and
thought
high
you
strangeness.
blamed Dave and Tim before me.
Well, I cross collated a little bit more clearly what was
he's going
going
back on
on.
the story.
Details.
Either
were
way,
changed.
it's Dave's fault because I wouldn't know you without him. So no matter what, ultimately Dave is the problem.
Always my fault.
I don't know if you want to say Dave's a problem.
It's a
I'll
good
take
problem. What do they call that? Good trouble?
That's Matt
Random
Ford's fault.
It's hilarious trouble.
The Good Trouble Show. Who in our audience
Hmm.
has been checking out that show? Anybody? I don't know.
What kind of show? What show are we watching?
Matt Ford's show. He's been a guest here recently. The Good Trouble Show with
Mhm.
Matt Ford.
Yeah, we're gonna have Matt on Monday night for the entire third hour with Tim
Yeah,
Senor himself to go over his interview with Senator Gillibrand on UFOs.
that's awesome. That went down sometime today, didn't it? So they sat down
Yeah, they
and
Okay.
said
went
that.
there Monday.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak. I'm going to
Um,
speak for Deb here. Deb wants to know if the panel thinks the Skinny Bob alien is real or not.
Ooh.
I got you, Deb. I got your back.
Dave, can you pull up Skinny Bob if I send it to you?
I can grab one.
Mike Bothwell wants it also. So I got your back, chat. I'll say random guy never had your back.
This is Skinny Bob here.
Skinny Bob Bob.
Looks like filth, to be honest.
Come
That's
on.
not-
Bro, I don't even know what it looks like, and I'm laughing.
I'm actually pretty much buffer than Skinny Bob. Not by much, but
Are you buffer than Tim Senor?
I figured Tim would probably be really rowdy with a knife fight, so I wouldn't want to scrap him.
Tim's a pacifist. He wouldn't fight. He doesn't know how.
He
So that's
lays
Skinny
you
Bob
out.
right
It's the videos though that are posted.
Oh,
Come on,
okay.
Dave,
Yeah,
you gotta
I
show the
remember
video.
that. I didn't
I
know
think
that was called Skinny Bob.
Skinny
The
I
Bob.
know
videos.
what that is.
Skinny Bob looks very reminiscent of Carl. Very reminiscent of Carl.
No. It was how many videos? 6 videos?
Something like that.
4 or 6 videos that were posted by a mysterious online account known as Ivan0135. And there's the picture of Skinny Bob, and then he's getting like measured, his height measured. And then there's a bunch of Skinny Bobs walking like they're going out for an outing or something. And then there's the footage where one of them is setting and it looks like a control panel and he's moving all these things or pushing a button. And there's a really good Reddit feed, and it walks you through like all the analysis of the videos that have been done, and if you should play them at like half speed or quarter speed, stuff like that. And it's actually really amazing. If it's a puppet, I'm thoroughly impressed. Just the way the
I'm gonna say
eyes
it's fake.
and across the temple. Well, it's just strange. I'll give you some
No,
homework.
it's somebody dressed up in an alien costume. It's prosthetics.
If it is, it's a child.
Or a little person.
It would
Is
have
that
to
the
be a
correct term now?
very thin little person.
Hey,
That's part of
random
the
guy,
analysis.
you wanna have a gander at the video that I've had? Like I filmed UFO 2019 in February. I want to have a gander at that and try to random guy.
Does Dave have it?
No.
Probably. Dave's probably got it.
Dave's not really into researching UFOs. He's just into bringing crazy people on his panel.
Yeah.
Well, hold on a second here.
Like me.
I'm the guy that brings the crazy people on the panel, and the good people, and the bad people, and everyone in between.
Bookings.
That's why you're dirty.
Geez.
That's why you're dirty.
Looks like I just broke the third wall there. I'm the booking guy as well. Sorry, Dave.
Oh, boy.
I broke your secret there. Oh, gods.
Well, who can say no to that voice?
Go to commercial. Go to commercial.
Rolodex.
Anyways, I'm the booking guy. So if you want to get
It's like the
bookings
Truman
from
Show.
weirdos that come here, email bookings@spacedoutradio.com and give me a guest name. We'll hose them. Probably give them a jar of pickles or something if they can come on the show. Not sure, but here we are.
Yeah, I don't even need to see it. I've seen it. Is that the one where it's like the 7 parts and they're interviewing the alien?
No.
Is that what Skinny Bob is? Or is that a different one?
That's a different one.
Oh, okay. I'm going to have to pull it
We're
up.
talking about the one where they're like interrogating it, and it's kind of even hard to watch. But yeah, I think that one has been debunked more.
Like waterboarding it or what?
I had to turn it because it bothered me.
It was a
Here's the thing.
conversational thing.
If we're torturing, interrogating aliens, then they're gonna get pissed at us. I wouldn't think that would end well for us.
Well, you never know. You got aliens. You should know.
Yeah. See, I went full circle. And I remember back in like when I was like 10 years old, I saw
full circle.
Pretty much. I was like 10 years old when the Bob Lazar story came out. What was that like 89 or 90, somewhere in there, right? And I remember seeing that and I was fascinated by it. And then the next thing I saw was the Fire in the Sky dude, Travis Walton or whatever. And I was like super woo chaser at a young age. I was like, this is so crazy, man, this, that, and the other. And then my dad's buddy, because I went, oh, aliens are there in Nevada and this and that, right? Went straight down that rabbit hole. And then my dad's buddy that flew the SR-71, he's like, dude, that's all crap. And then like I go through this military, government, whatever career, and it turns me into a full skeptic. And then I come back and now I'm here on SOR and I'm like, how do you reconcile both sides of the woo, the skeptic side and the.
You balance them. On that note, we are going to say good night to everybody because Dave has to work in the morning.
Can I call you in sick, Dave?
No.
Let me call your boss and be like,
no, it's month end. But thank you guys, Nicole, Random Gee, Dirty Filth for coming in late. Myself, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you to all our super chatters tonight. Louis ×3, Brian, Larry, NorCal, Nancy, Deb, Cat Chaser, Monica, Tim, Flash Forward, Tim again, Mike, W. Decker, Fish times 2, Learned, JSCO, Pascal, Mike, Maggie, Tim Othman, and Bird Dog. Appreciate you guys for coming on in. We'll talk to you all on Monday, beginning of May. Here we go.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.